Yes, it is a very special day for us here at Makerere University. We have a theme towards a research-led university, strengthening Makerere University's research, grant writing, and publication capacity. Right? And we have partners, Makerere University, U.S. Mission in Uganda, and Michigan State University. We also welcome our participants who are following online. Thank you so much for joining us. In terms of protocol and knowing the categories here, we have senior mentors at the level of professors. You're most welcome. We have a delegation from the U.S. Mission in Uganda, Michigan State University, Makerere University Management, principals, deputy principals from the respective colleges at Makerere University, deans, directors, heads of departments, Makerere University GAMS, Makerere University Research and Innovations Fund, staff from the Directorate of Research and Graduate Training, early career researchers, and research managers, including also some of our students. You're most welcome, and the media as well. It's now, I'm honored to invite the following people to kindly take up their seats, and after that has happened, then we'll all rise and have the anthems. Let us welcome the principal investigator, Professor Frederick Muyodi, to take up his seat. Professor Frederick Muyodi is the principal investigator from Makerere University. We also welcome Professor Trixie Smith, principal investigator, Michigan State University. Let us also welcome the representative of the Vice Chancellor of Makerere University. The Vice Chancellor of Makerere University is Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, represented this morning, kindly take your seat, represented this morning by Professor Edward Bale, who is the Director of Research and Graduate Training at Makerere University. You're welcome. Then we are also honored to welcome the representative of the U.S. Ambassador to Uganda. The U.S. Ambassador is Ambassador H.A. Natalie E. Brown, represented by Ms. Amy Peterson, the Public Engagement Officer, U.S. Embassy, Kampala, Uganda. When you see this podium constituted, then you understand that all is set for the opening ceremony. So may I humbly request each and every one of us in the room to rise for the anthems. We'll have the anthems in this order: the national anthem, East Africa, Makerere University anthem, and the United States anthem. Thank you.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you very much. Kindly take your seats. This is a very special day in the life of Makerere University. As envisaged in the Makerere University strategic plan, that's the 10-year strategic plan, our focus is ensuring that Makerere University repositions itself into a research-led university. And for us to go towards that strategic direction, we have to ensure that we strengthen Makerere University's research, grant writing, and publication capacities. And permit me to recognize only two people central to this. That is the Director of Grants Administration and Management Support Unit, GAMS at Makerere University, Professor Sylvia Nanyonga Tamsuza. Yes, what we are witnessing today is also aligned to the work of GAMUS. May I also request the team from the head of delegation, Makerere University Research and Innovations Fund, the person really representing Makerere Research and Innovations Fund, RIF team in the room. Yes, we are talking research. And then On behalf of the university management, let us also welcome Professor Winza Mukadas, the academic registrar of Makerere University. He's academic registrar, but he's served as director research and graduate training for the last 8 years, 12 years, yes. So when we are talking about research towards a research-led university, and we are talking about grant writing and publication, we are glad that we have the right people from Makerere University. We also welcome the Michigan State University. Those are our partners. And in a very special way, the Principal College of Natural Sciences, Professor Winston Tumsireta, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Permit me, in line with our program, to invite the principal investigator on behalf of Makerere University, that is Professor Frederick Moyodi, to tell us about this project, the future, and what we envisage, and how we are going to use this center, this project, to transform Makerere University, and also to transform this country and humanity in general. You're welcome, Professor Moyodi.
Thank you so much, our MC this morning, Ms. Rita Namisango. I'm going to make brief opening remarks to this launch of the project. That's the grants writing and publication project, which is taking place this morning on the 21st of March, 2023 at this great venue. The ambassador, Her Excellence Brown, being represented by Ms. Amy Patterson. The Vice Chancellor being represented by Professor Edward Bale, Professor Trixie Smith, who is the Director of the Writing Center at Michigan State University, and Dr. Grace Brigant, who is the Associate Director at the Writing Center at Michigan State University in the United States of America, the Academic Registrar of Makerere University, the Principal College of Natural Sciences, the principals, other principals, deputy principals, the deans, directors, and heads of units who are present this morning. I can see a number of them are already in, and we expect more to come. We also have the early career researchers and research managers, including those who have been selected as the first cohort to participate in this training exercise. The Makerere University community in general, ladies and gentlemen, in your respective capacities, participants who are also online, because we have those who are participating online who could not be here this morning with all of us. You are all so much welcome. I'd like to welcome you all to this project launch at Makerere University this morning. In a special way, I do welcome Ms. Amy Patterson, yes, the representative of Her Excellency Natalie Brown, the U.S. Ambassador to Uganda. Your presence cannot be taken for granted. I also take this opportunity to thank the support of the United States government and through the United States Mission for funding this project. The project is titled Towards a Research-Led University, Strengthening Makerere University's Research, Grant Writing, and Publication Capacity. It is a partnership project between Makerere University and Michigan State University. These partners are included in the flyer that you have in your folder. So if you can open your folder, there's a flyer there which gives a brief about this project. The grant purpose, as indicated on that flyer which you have, that small one, is the grant will strengthen Makerere University's capacity for research, grant writing and publication, among others. We have mentoring, We have issues to do with literature search and so on and so forth. The research team, as I've already indicated, that it is a partnership project led at Makerere University, is led by myself as the PI, and we have the co-PIs from the College of Education, CIS, represented by co-PI, Professor Ronald Bisaso, and we have Mrs. Tera Kaketo from the College of Health Sciences. She's about to be here as the co-PIs. Then the team from Michigan State University is led by Professor Trixie Smith, who is here with us. And we also have, I've already said she's the director of the Writing Center at Michigan State University. For some of you have had an opportunity maybe to be there in the US and visited, I'm not sure, but you never know. That Writing Center is big and it conducts a lot of important functions to the University of Michigan and also the communities surrounding that university. Of course, issues to do with research, grant writing, publications, and so on and so forth. We are privileged to have her, and she leads the team from Michigan State University. Of course, we have Dr. Grace Brigant, who is also with us here. We are very happy to have you here this morning. They will be here for the rest of the week to implement project activities, including, of course, we are having this launch this morning. Then we also have other partners from Michigan State University who are part of this this great project. That is, we have Dr. Jose Jackson Malete. She's the co-director of the Alliance for African Partnerships. Alliance for African Partnerships has supported many projects at Makerere University. And I'm sure many of us, a good number of us here could be participating right now in an AAP grant, or you have written or you intend to write. So we are privileged to have AAP as being part of this project. We have other members also, and Allegra, who is not able to be. She was supposed to be here with us, but unfortunately something happened and she had to call off her flight. It was an emergency. So this is the team. Of course, the beneficiaries, as we have already indicated, these ones are the early career researchers. We are defining early career researchers as those ones who have been maybe since their graduation after PhD within a period of about 10 years. But there are those who have not yet got their PhD, but they are still, that journey studying towards that. So we are taking those as being early career researchers. These are very important. Just like when you want to have a forest, you must have the seedlings, the trees, so many of them. So we are looking at them as a great asset for this institution of ours as regards to this subject area matter this morning. Then we also have the research managers. These were the ones who control maybe our research grants offices and so on. We have the units like the GAMSU, we have the RGT, we have Makerere and so on. At some of the colleges, we also have some grants offices which are being run by some grant managers. These are also part of the beneficiaries for this. We need to construct this foundation for this university, since we know very well that Makerere University is heading towards fully becoming a research-led university, and this project is aimed at contributing towards that strategic goal for this university. So those are the brief about the project, and I don't want to go in the details because of the limited time that we have, but of course we shall be getting the details as we move along. So with that, I can say that once again, I do welcome all of you to the launch, this launch at Makerere University. And let me take this opportunity, without wasting much more time, to invite Professor Trixie Smith, the project PI from Michigan State University, for a self-introduction and also make her remarks. Thank you so much. And I can say, as we build for the future.
Good morning. I am Professor Trixie Smith, and it is so good to be here at Makerere University and to play a small role in the university's commitment and moving towards the future. First, I want to thank the team here that we've been working with, Professor Moriarty, Dr. Ronald Basasso, and Ms. Stella Kakito, as well as a great team of research administrative assistants who've been invaluable to us. I also want to thank the U.S. Embassy and Amy for their part in making this project happen. Thanks as well for the warm greetings and support from the VC, the DVC for Academic Affairs, and the Director of Research and Graduate Studies. In fact, everyone we've encountered here has been warm and inviting, so thank you. I bring greetings from Michigan State University, my home for the past 16 years. I also extend greetings from my colleague and co-PI, Dr. Grace Pregent, who's also on this trip, and my colleagues from the Alliance for African Partnerships, Ms. Anna Allegra, and co-director, Dr. Jose Jackson Melito, who was the first person to introduce me to Makerere University and to Professor Moriarty many years ago. Just like Makerere, at Michigan State, we too have a new strategic plan dedicated to change by 2030. Michigan State is focused on three things: empowering excellence, advancing equity, and expanding impact. One of the ways we can accomplish these goals is through engaged partnerships, both locally and globally. Partnerships such as this one with Makerere University, where we can collaborate with stellar researchers and visionaries, where we can work together to build on the abundant strengths you have here, and where we can conduct research together that is important to a global audience as well as a local one. I have been directing writing centers for 20 years, but I started many years before that as a peer tutor when I was an undergraduate student finishing my BA degree in English and my BS in education. One of my mentors along this journey advanced a model of what she called complementary expertise. This is particularly salient in the writing center. Writers are their own best experts about their writing, their projects, their research, their goals. But they come to the writing center to work collaboratively with others who have expertise in areas such as research, writing grant applications, and presentations. Working together, both individuals or teams learn and grow and become even better versions of themselves. This is our shared goal for a writing center here at Makerere University. We think this writing center and the programs organized by and run through the center and the partners that already exist on campus can be a model for the East African region and beyond, an important part of Makerere's goals and visions for being innovative and transformative and increasing its visibility around the globe. In my 30 plus years of teaching writing and working in writing centers, I have seen their transformative power for individual writers, researchers, and teachers, as well as for programs and curricula. Focusing on writing and the needs of writers, no matter their level or type of writing, can open up new opportunities for networking, for influencing readers and researchers, for making connections in the community and beyond. Writing is a tool that cuts across colleges and disciplines. It can also cut across identity markers such as gender, age, and citizenship. It does provide forums and platforms for new discoveries and solutions, whether we're thinking about food security or the effects of climate change on our planet, whether we're thinking about the role of play and literacy learning for our children, or the role of education in keeping people healthy. And on, writing's importance never diminishes. So I'm excited to be a part of this launch and to have the opportunity to work with so many of you in the upcoming days and months, and hopefully for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In your speech, you highlighted that in the writing center, we can have so many disciplines, including gender. And I'm glad that the director, Makerere University Gender Mainstreaming, Dr. Izobia Mugisha, is in the room. Yes, so the gender component, we will ensure that it's also part of the writing center. And then I'm glad that you also talked about the transformative power of writers. Yes, and anyone in the room that wishes to be transformed? Yes, so you're in the right place. When we get to this writing center at Makerere University, it has a transformative power, networking, connections, and issues to do with also gender. So you're in the right place. And I'm also glad that Professor Smith, you mentioned that it is multidisciplinary, and I'm glad that we are living towards that. When you look at the project team, we have the College of Health Sciences at Makerere University. We have the College of Natural Sciences and the College of Education and External Studies already as part of the team. But we've been told multidisciplinary, and it will bring on board at Makerere University all the 10 colleges. That is where we are heading, towards the research-led university. All the 10 colleges must be on board as we strengthen the writing center at Makerere University. However, today, on behalf of all the 10 principals at Makerere University, we are going to have one principal from the College of Natural Sciences to speak to us. Let us welcome Professor Winston Tomps Ireta. I love the names. Professor Winston Tomps Ireta. You're most welcome. Kindly speak to us. He's the principal, College of Natural Sciences at Makerere University.
Thank you, MC. Good morning to you all. And the representative of the ambassador of the US in Uganda, the Vice Chancellor, Makerere University, our PIs, Professor Muyodi and Professor Smith, and the team members, principals, deputy principals, deans, staff, and our students. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again. I'm sorry I'm putting on my mask. I have a cold, so I don't want to infect you in case it's COVID, but I don't think it's COVID. I'm told there's a flu, it's flu time, and I'm one of them who has been affected. And I've just been requested to give a few remarks. One is to thank Professor Muyodi and team for this initiative, because putting up a writing center, it's one way of achieving our goals at the university, of becoming research-led. When I read through the summary of your project, you talked about this project being it's there to enhance capacity for research, grant writing, and publications among early career researchers at the university by setting up a writing center using the US model, and the one in particular will be the Michigan State University model, which I think will help the university achieve its goal of research-led. For us to become research-led, we need those good researchers who are skilled to train more, because I think you're going to train, and these become trainers of trainers, trainers of trainees. So they will train other staff who may not have the opportunity to be here, and even their own students, we supervise along the way. So I think this is a very good initiative. And as a College of Natural Sciences and the other colleges that I'm representing here, especially the CIS, where Professor Bisasos comes from, and Ms. Kaketo from CHS. And like Rita has said, it's to all university staff from all different colleges. I think it's a very good initiative, and we applaud you, and we receive whatever you do to us or provide to us with open hands, and we hope it will be beneficial, and I think it will. Thank you. So Rita, should I invite the VC? So in mine, we are just remarks, but the speech is from the Vice Chancellor. So I hereby invite Professor Edward Bale, who's representing Professor Nawange, to give his speech. Thank you.
The United States Ambassador to Uganda, His High Excellency Natali Brown, represented by Miss Amy Peterson, Prof. Trick Smith, Director, Writing Center, Michigan State University, Dr. Grace Prigant, Associate Director, Writing Center, Michigan State University, the Academic Register of Makerere University, and other members of university management, principals, deputy principals, deans, and directors, heads of departments are present. The principal investigator, Professor Frederick Jones Muyod, and your team, the early career researchers and research managers, the Makerere University community, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, in your respective capacities, good morning to you all. First of all, my name is Edward Bale from the Directorate of Research and Graduate Training. And before I read verbatim the speech that was handed over to me from the Office of the Vice Chancellor, allow me to say that as the Directorate of Research and Graduate Training, we are very much excited to have a project with such a name or with such a title, a research-led, towards a research-led university, strengthening the capacity to conduct research, grant writing, and publication. The Directorate of Research and Graduate Training, for obvious reasons that are mandate related, is at the center of driving the research-led agenda of the university. And the Directorate of Research and Graduate Training is mandated to administer and coordinate all matters to do with research. At the same time, it is mandated to administer and coordinate all matters to do with graduate training. And at the same time, to bring those two together, the Directorate is also charged with the responsibility of ensuring a conducive environment in which graduate training and research can thrive. And therefore, this means that having a research topic like this one, a research endeavor like this one, is right within what is of great interest to the Directorate of Research and Graduate Training. And on behalf of colleagues from the Directorate, I want to congratulate Professor Muyod, Professor Trix, and all members and all colleagues that are contributing to this research grant. It is within those key aspects of great interest to the Directorate, and I want to pledge our support in all stages, in all phases of this project. I want to say congratulations to you and your team. I want to now read the speech from the Vice Chancellor. I am extremely honored to welcome you all to Makerere University this morning. Allow me to welcome in a special way Miss Amy Peterson, the representative of High Excellency Natali Brown, the United States Ambassador to Uganda. We are most honored by your presence and thank you for finding time from your busy schedule to grace this occasion. Through you, we acknowledge the support of the United States mission for this federal award to finance this project. Makerere University aspires to be a research-led in the current strategic period of 2020-2030 with the intention of contributing solutions to challenges of climate change, population growth, food security, governance, poverty, youth unemployment, among others. All the 10 colleges of the university are expected to contribute to this agenda, and indeed they are doing so. Makerere University is expected to contribute towards coming up with solutions to these challenges. This project is very timely as it will build the capacity that will work out solutions towards these challenges for now and for the future. The early career researchers and research managers trained will play a very significant role in not only making Makerere University lead in the knowledge global economy, but also contribute to the ranking of the institution. The university is also a member of the African Research Universities Alliance, ARUA, and a member of the Alliance of African Partnership, AAP. I'm happy to learn that AAP is a partner in this project. These engagements have enabled Makerere University to play her role in the generation of knowledge and innovation through research in line with the National Development Plan 3, Vision 2040, and the Agenda 2063. The grant writing and publication project is therefore a very timely project that will strengthen research, grant writing, and publication capacity with special focus on the early career researchers and research managers from the different colleges and entities in Makerere University. The participants are a critical mass to sustainably contribute to research-led agenda. I have also learned that a number of senior colleagues have been invited as senior mentors to provide the much needed mentorship to the early career researchers during the project cycle and beyond. I am hopeful that this approach will produce strong collaborative teams. To the early career researchers and research managers, you are pillars for reaping dividends of being a research-led. Please build your capacities and share experiences with your peers with the intention to grow. I was informed that you'll be transformed into peer champions to sustainably contribute to research capacity building in your respective colleges and entities. I wish to thank our partners, the Michigan State University, the Writing Center, and the Alliance for African Partnership. We have had a long-standing partnership with MSU in a number of fields in Makerere University. These include human and veterinary medicine, agriculture, and recently in humanities. We are very optimistic that this partnership will further grow and become stronger. The US mission in Uganda has continued to support Makerere University in key priority areas for which we are very grateful. The outcome of the current project is the establishment of Writing Center at Makerere University, which will sustainably support the early career researchers, postgraduate students, among others. Ladies and gentlemen, Makerere University is committed to the successful implementation and the realization of a Writing Center initiative. I cannot end without saying that the collaborative outputs from this project should not only conclude with developing capacities of early career researchers, research managers, and establishing a Writing Center in the coming year, but it should also be a springboard for strong postdoctoral collaborative research between Makerere University, Michigan State University, and other United States universities. We also expect to see exchange visits by the peer mentors in the subsequent phases of the project. I extend my sincere thanks to Professor Muyod, the PI, and the co-principal investigators, Professor Ronald Bisaso of CIS and Ms. Stella Kakete of CHS for your efforts. I thank our collaborators at MSU, Professor Trick Smith and Dr. Grace and Professor Jose of AAP. Thank you, the US mission in Uganda, for funding this important project. Once again, I welcome you to Makerere University as we build for the future for God and my country. Thank you very much. I now take this singular honor and privilege to invite the ambassador of the United States ambassador to Uganda, High Excellency Natalie Brown, represented by Miss Amy Peterson. You are most welcome to me.
Good morning, Makerere. Thank you to the Vice Chancellor, represented today by Professor Mbale, to all of our hosts at Makerere University, especially our principal investigator and the teams establishing this writing center. It's an honor to see guests from Michigan State University here in person in Uganda. And of course, this team, both online and in person, of academics and students here at Makerere, who we know are the heart of the university. On behalf of Ambassador Natalie Brown, it is an honor to be here today to launch this writing center. And in my remarks, I would like to give you some of the context of why this is such an important project for the U.S. mission and why we are proud to support this type of collaboration. So as you know, I think it was September of 2022, President Biden launched an Africa strategy. And that strategy is geared towards a few big areas. We have areas such as fostering openness and open societies, delivering on democratic and security dividends, advancing pandemic recovery and economic opportunity for all Africans, efforts to promote conservation, climate adaptation, and energy transition. These are all areas where we need academic leadership to guide the future of how we're going to address these challenges. And one thing that has become incredibly clear in this world of interconnectivity is we cannot tackle any of these challenges alone. So as we look to how are we going to advance this big Africa strategy, the U.S. Department of State recognized we needed to partner with universities to do that. And so we chose to invest in the University Partnership Initiative. So this project, supporting Makerere and Michigan State University collaboration, is part of a broader network of university partnerships that are supported by the Department of State, linking African universities with U.S. universities. And in February, they held a conference at the University of Pretoria in South Africa, bringing together representatives from these various university partnerships to discuss how can we strengthen these institutional partnerships so that universities can be the leaders in solving the solutions of tomorrow. And just like we think no US university can do it alone, we know that universities across the globe and here in Africa need partnerships to be able to develop those future solutions. The US mission in Uganda is a proud partner of Makerere University. And we have been working with Makerere across your 100 years of existence here in leading academia in East Africa. In September, we were proud to be part of the 100-year celebrations of this proud institution. In this room, we hosted the Senteza Kajubi Fulbright Lecture, where we brought a professor from Notre Dame University to discuss the importance of internationalization of higher education. And that was a wonderful celebration of the partnerships that exist now and have strengthened this university as well as many universities across our decades of partnership. We are working with, you mentioned the 10 colleges and departments of Makerere. I think the US mission has partnerships with each and every one of those. We are proud to partner with the public health, the development of the Infectious Disease Institute, the deep relationship in agriculture over the years, our support in the performing arts department with many different types of collaborations over the years, the work with the Law Center and the development of the Human Rights Law Center, These are all areas where the US mission has partnered with academics here, as well as with the institution as a whole, to ensure that Makerere remains at the forefront of higher education in East Africa. But as we look forward, no institution can do it alone. So we come back to the value of these partnerships. And I think we are so excited, particularly for this project, which is towards a research-led university, because it focuses on the essential skill of writing. And writing is what every student and every academic needs to build their connections, to build their networks, secure the academic acknowledgement, as well as funding opportunities to do the work that they need to do. And what I love about this center is it is a resource for all of Makerere. And today, by seeing so many representatives from the different departments and aspects of the university, we can see that all parts of the university can benefit from, and we hope will utilize the resources of this center and help it become an essential part of the university moving forward. I also want to say that this is not the only partnership that we have right now with the university from my section of the embassy. I am honored to represent the public affairs section of the US mission in Uganda, and we are all about engaging with people. And one of the ways that we do that is through exchange programs. And I believe we have some representatives of the Fulbright program here in the room. Do we have any Fulbright alumni here today? I see at least one. There may be some more. So I want to mention the Fulbright program in particular, because it is our flagship academic exchange program. And each year we are honored to both send Ugandan academics to the United States and bring American researchers and academics here to Uganda through this long-standing academic program. The US government supports these academic exchanges because they enrich our universities. American universities are enriched by connections with scholars, students, and institutions overseas. They help connect us with the world. And the Fulbright program is one of the ways that we have been doing that for, I believe, 80 years. So I want to mention Fulbright particularly because we are currently recruiting both students and scholars to apply for the Fulbright program. And through Fulbright, we offer fully funded master's and PhD programs. And if you are interested in applying for these opportunities, the Fulbright student program has applications open through March 31st. Please take a look at the US Embassy website for the Fulbright student program application. And for academics here, please share that with your students and people that you know are still looking for higher degrees, particularly in the United States. I also want to mention the Fulbright Scholars Program, which is an opportunity for people that already have PhDs to do research at a US university in partnership with an academic in the United States. These program applications are due May 5th, and they are for people that are already have a PhD and are looking specifically to pursue research opportunities in the United States. Each year, we also host something called the Study of the US Institutes. And this is another opportunity for academics to do a deep dive into issues in the United States. And all of these opportunities we advertise on the US Embassy website. So I would encourage you to look at those opportunities, share them with students and researchers that you are interested in, and find ways to take advantage of the beautiful research products that you will all create through the Writing Center and use those as part of your applications to the Fulbright program. My understanding is there's already overwhelming interest in the programs that this Writing Center will offer. And it's a testament to how each student and professor and the early career researchers here at Makerere are hungry to build skills and expertise. The US mission is a proud partner in that effort, and we want to see those partnerships succeed and to see each student here at Makerere connect with the United States and expand their expertise and relationships with us and deepen their knowledge in the field of their study. So thank you to Makerere University for hosting us today. We are proud to lead this partnership, and good luck with the launch of the project. We look forward to seeing what the results will be in all of the writing that your students will produce. So thank you all today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And just to supplement that, also recently we had the US mission in Uganda partnering with Makerere University Students Guild to ensure that we have also the student leaders together with the students, this time in form of an entertainment, public engagement, and issues to do with the dance. It was a special day, I remember, and I was also very glad to see the US ambassador actually personally tweeting about the concert that was held between Makerere University Students Guild, and the US Mission in Uganda at the Freedom Square to celebrate 60 years of US-Uganda relations and 100 years of Makerere University. Thank you very much. So the partnership is at different levels, the respective colleges, the schools that have been mentioned, for example, the School of Public Health. But then I'm also glad that the US Mission in Uganda has also reached out to our students through Makerere University Students Guild. Yes, we are here to listen to the people who are supposed to lead us to where we are supposed to be. And in line with our program, presentation of needs assessment and landscape analysis reports. And the best team to do this are the two principal investigators, Professor Muyodi on behalf of Makerere University and Professor Smith on behalf of Michigan State University. Welcome, Professor Muyodi. Kindly lead us in this session.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Rita, our MC this morning. Thank you so much, all our distinguished guests who have been giving us remarks about this launch this morning. We have a report which came out of our needs and landscape analysis, which we want to present to you this morning. We shall be going through only key issues, myself and my Professor Trixie here. Of course, before we move on, usually it is important to know the situation on the ground. So we had to take on a needs assessment and also a landscape analysis so that we know how we move. These informed, the ones which have informed the direction that we are going to take. Of course, the project overview, we have already talked about that, but of course the goal is to strengthen the research, grant writing and publication capacity of early career researchers and research managers at Makerere University. And the goal includes establishing a set of resources for this work, including a writing center and an online database, and developing a team of mentors who will continue to develop leadership and mentorship skills for the next cohort of early career researchers and research managers. At the timeline, the initial grant is for 1 year, but of course we have to intend to build additional projects and programs from this partnership, a partnership that all of us, all of you are now part of. We have the project, the prospects for getting more and more funding. We are right now laying down the environment. Once the environment is good, then there is no question about getting more and more funding to push forward the ideas and the goals of this project. The project overview, we have 3 strategic objectives to strengthen the research, grant writing, and publication capacity of early career researchers and research managers at Makerere University. Increased networking, we're looking at networking and the exchange of grant proposal writing, knowledge and resources among the early career researchers and research managers, and establish faculty peer champions, whom we can also refer to as the mentors, who will strategically offer mentorship and support to other early career researchers at Makerere University and the partner universities in the region, because we are looking at scaling out. This one is piloting first, get the center in place, and then scale out to other regions within Uganda, other universities within Uganda, and also even beyond. Because we know within the region, for example, the East African region, we don't have any writing center in some of those big universities. Based on the research that we have conducted, there's no writing center there. And they are also looking forward to establishing writing centers at their universities. Okay, we did, as I said, we did the landscape analysis and looked at the existing resources at the university. For example, we looked at GAMSU, that's the Grants Administration and Management Support Unit. We visited them and had conversations. We had, we know very well, GAMSU provides the framework approach for grants mobilization, supporting research, infrastructure development, and many others functions. Makerere University Research and Innovation, which we refer to as the Makerere, was one of them. We know this gives grants to academic university faculty within MAC. And we also had conversation with the Directorate of Research and Graduate Training, DRGT, which oversees all the issues to do with activities to do with research, as we have heard from the representative of the Vice Chancellor, who is also the Director of DRGT, and other units, which I may not, we may not mention due to, of course, time, and otherwise we have all the detailed units that we consulted. The landscape and needs assessment results, we have major gaps which were identified, the 5 major gaps in output and sustainability identified by the interviewees. The one is the piracy fear cropping up across the university. 2, the funding policies, including regulations for the environment of the donor country. For instance, people being subjected to different laws from different countries, organizations that they are not familiar with. People are not aware of the opportunities available locally and abroad. Making research findings successful to the public as well as through journals and monographs is also a challenge. The mentorship gap is also a challenge. We had lots of online surveys, which we sent to across the university members, staff, early career researchers, research manager, and so on. So this is what we are presenting are results of what we got out of them. 5 possible solutions were identified by the interviewees. One is an introductory course. That is a module pegged into staff training or graduate programs. 2, an ecosystem of culture of writing and publishing at the university. 3, strongly structured mentorship program. 4, training and support for networking, local and globally, and then identification of the funding resources. These were the 5 possible solutions identified by the interviewees. I'm going to invite Trixie also to give a summary of the results.
Thank you. Yes, we were able to look at materials already here in Makerere, to interview a number of stakeholders, and then to do the needs assessment survey, where we had 185 responses. So thank you to all of you who responded. I will say that this graph just shows that several of the respondents were research managers or faculty/research managers, but that the majority of you were faculty. Some of the results of who responded to this: 61% male, 35.9% female, 2.8% who identified as other. The leading group were lecturers and then assistant lecturers, research fellows and associates, those who identified as other, and then graduate students. 43% of those who fill this out have applied for outside funding in the past year, and 45% have written and published scholarly publications in the past year. So there's good work being done, but people want more, and that's kind of where we are. We did ask people to talk about what they saw as the top needs in terms of where they wanted training, where they wanted more support, where they wanted more instruction. And we asked them to think about it in terms of where they needed things at the beginner level and at the advanced level. Some of the highlights of this from research managers is that at the beginning level, they want more information about contract negotiation and management, financial management, intellectual property, and using electronic tools to support research partnerships and policy development. At the advanced level, research managers would like to have more support and training in terms of academic writing, publishing, and presentation skills, grant proposal development and writing, the ethics and integrity in research and making sure to maintain that, and some guidance on awareness raising. As people said, they need to know about things. So how do we make sure they know? Similar, we asked the same questions of ECRs with some different categories about where they might need support. Some of these standouts at the beginning level: identifying and writing grants, intellectual property issues, data analysis and data management, publishing options, scientific writing and research philosophies. Standouts at the advanced level: research proposal writing, research methods, both quantitative and qualitative, different types of writing. Some of the things specified were literature reviews, report writing, scientific writing, and writing for the public. And then sampling methods. Some noted additions where we asked if there were other things of concern. Mentoring and supporting graduate students came up several times, and being able to carry projects through to completion, making sure that grants are carried through to the end, projects that are started are finished and are published and reported out. So making sure that they go through the whole process, because it can be a time-intensive process. I will say that these are just the standouts. I would imagine our first publication will dig into all of these results, and there will be more to share there. So thank you. Those who are in the cohort, in this first cohort and workshops starting tomorrow, you will see that all those workshops dig into what these needs are, what people say they need the most help with. So you'll see that these come back again to us in the series of workshops that we're about to facilitate and record and make available to others in the future. Thank you.
Yes, needs assessment to all of us physically present and those online. We've listened to the principal investigators, and you may wish to clap for them. Thank you very much, because always when you're getting into something, especially to us maybe at Makerere University that seems to be a bit new, a writing center, it is better that you do a needs assessment and you understand. This needs assessment will guide us or the participants to ensure, for example, I wish to say there was a challenge, you noted the mentorship gap, right? And then I'm glad that in the room, there are senior mentors who have been identified at the level of professors. May I humbly request the senior mentors who are associated with this project to really stand up, senior mentors in the room at the level of professor or rank of professor. Thank you very much. And for some reason, the ones who stood up are women. So that is also a plus. But what it means is that in the needs assessment, they identified the mentorship gap. So now they have identified mentors or senior mentors at the rank of professor who are going to be part of the project and guide the rest of us as we take on this. To me, that is a plus. And then permit me, in the interest of time, to recognize just 3 people: the Deputy Principal, College of Natural Sciences, Dr. Juma Kasozi; the Deputy Principal, College of Education and External Studies, Dr. Ronald Bisaso. He's one of us, but let me recognize him in also that capacity. And the Deputy Principal, College of Business and Management Sciences, Dr. Bruno Yahweh. Okay, I think he stepped out, but I saw him. Yes, question and answer session for 10 minutes. And we are going to be led by one of us who is a member of the project team, Miss Stella Kaketo from College of Health Sciences. You're welcome. Kindly come over, and I think the rest of us will guide you to ensure that we move the microphones to those who wish to ask questions. She's a member of the project team, but I believe you can use a minute to ably introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rita. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this morning and to see you all ready to have the project rolling. So I was already introduced, but briefly, I'm Stella Kaketo. I sit at the School of Public Health under the College of Health Sciences. And one of my passions is to see early career researchers advance in research. So I'm excited to have you all. There are more people, and all of us are committed to see a difference as far as research is concerned. So we've had the results of the needs assessment as it has been well presented by Professor Muyodi and Professor Trixie. And it's my pleasure to moderate the question and answer session. I know you have all probably enjoyed the session and may have a few more questions that you may want to ask around the mentorship program and the training activities we shall have based on the needs that have been identified. Feel free to raise your hand, and the mic will get to you. This is the time for us to bring up some of these issues. Of course, we shall have additional interaction as we go along, but please feel free to bring up some of your issues at this moment. We have a question.
Okay, name, institution, and one question.
Mhm.
I'm Dr. Makerere. I'm an architect. I come from College of Engineering.
Mhm.
The president during the 100-year celebration cautioned us against assumptions and said that in our research, the idea of assuming X is equal to this should end, and we address your issues. I don't know what the research found out concerning the real issues we face in the country, like the flooding of Kampala, the children on the streets. What strategy are we going to take to ensure that our research is actually consumed in real life? Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much for that wonderful question. Rita, should we take all the questions at once and then have them answered at the end?
Okay, I am here.
Oh, great. So let's have another. Okay. Okay, so we had him
Okay.
and
All right, so maybe there are some hands the other side where Betty is.
oh, there is another one right here.
Thank you. Arthur Tugume, the Dean, School of Biosciences in the College of Natural Sciences. My question goes to the connectivity, because writing and also mentorship how is the team going to ensure that the impact ripples down? Because the challenge that we may have at a higher level in terms of research and the mentorship actually is an advancement of what it might be at a lower level, because then students may find it difficult to relate with senior academic. We experience this when we give students special projects like in their second years and third years. And that's where we derive future faculty for our universities to be able to go forward. So I would love to know how this ripples down to the younger people who are the future faculty of our universities, because we no longer have the graduate. I think many of us, when we are getting recruited in the university, we used to be recruited at early time, then you are attached to a senior faculty, he trains you, you go through that type of mentorship program, which apparently is not there anymore at our university. So I would love to see this one as a replacement of that model, but then how it happens is something yet I do not understand. So I would love to know how that can affect our undergraduate training programs and encouraging other earlier career research at that time. Thank you very much.
Yes, Dr. Godfrey Mayende kindly also help us monitor the online audience if there are any questions so that we get them.
Okay, we have a couple of questions in the back. So maybe we take 2 at a time, have them answered, and because we have just 10 minutes.
Okay, let's take maybe 2 more.
Okay,
But we need your guidance. We have so many hands, so
so we have a hand over here that we can consider.
and then the final one for this session.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited about this project. I'm Florence Makerere from the School of Public Health, and I have visited Michigan State University on another exchange program. I am most interested in the Fulbright student scholarship. I'm actually about to put in my application, so this is really timely for me. So my question is, I have also won a grant before from USAID Uganda with Resilient Africa Network. So my question is, I have an innovation using that previous grant, USAID grant, and I am stuck between handling IP rights issues. So we've not published because we didn't want to expose our formula on the product. And then we wanted to know, I wanted to know whether this project can help me to bridge, to address the gaps between the other grant and this grant, whether I can be mentored on how to handle IP rights, how to actually disseminate the findings, because we haven't disseminated, because we didn't want to expose our formula and then it is stolen. We've not registered the product, the innovation. So I wanted to know whether we can be supported to bridge, to address that gap. Thank you.
And just one here.
So we'll have the last question from.
All protocol observed, good morning. My name is Maria Sophie, a third-year student doing Bachelor of Science in Population Studies. My question is about the Fulbright program. I would like to know, are undergraduate students also considered, and what are the prerequisites? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the questions. We have 4 questions on the floor. The first was coming in, checking how this impact will trickle down to the young people, especially the students. Another one from Florence asking if she can have the gap abridged by the project. And the other one coming in from the last participant who requested to know. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm going to request Professor Muyodi and Professor Trixie to respond to some of these questions, probably starting on how the impact is going to trickle down to the young people or students within the university.
Thank you so much for that response, the feedback from our presentation of the results of the needs and landscape analysis. We are going to give a response to the questions. Yes, yeah, as we presented, we are also going to share the answers. And of course, we have other team members who can also contribute where need comes, when need arises. Okay, regarding, let me reflect on the first one, which was raised by real issues, whether this project is going to address real issues at hand in Uganda. Of course, first of all, what I can say is that we are building the capacity to handle these issues. The project is going to build the capacity of the researchers to go for real issues, to look at the real issues, look for solutions for the real issues that are affecting Uganda and maybe the region here. So if you have the capacity, that research capacity, the capacity of the early career researchers to go for the real issues affecting us, then we expect the solutions which will be provided from this kind of research to be to answer, to give to the solutions to these issues affecting the country. We have issues, for example, we have cross-cutting issues like climate change. We have issues to do with food security. We have issues to do with the health, environmental health. These are some of the key issues that we have also been actually getting from some of these, the assessments that have been conducted. So emphasis is going to be put on this when we are building capacity of the researchers and the research managers. I'm running through, then I will, Trix will come on board. Connectivity between the writing and mentorship and impact towards the lower levels. These mentors are going to provide these services, mentoring services to the lower levels, the early career researchers, the managers. These early career researchers are also going to serve as mentors to those students down. They are teaching, they are supervising these students, they are involved in all the core activities of the university. So once they have been empowered, then we expect that this impact will trickle down to our students, not only at the postgraduate level, but even at the undergraduate level, because we have undergraduate students going for these projects. We send them outside there. They can conduct some form of research. So if their supervisors are empowered, then don't you think this impact will also trickle down to the students that they are teaching and also supervising? I think it will. About Fulbright, yes, Florence from the School of Public Health, whether this project can be a bridging, sort of a bridging, bridge that gap between your project and this one, so that you are able to address the challenges that you have. Of course, disseminating, we are going to handle issues of disseminating, not only publishing in the journals, but there are other forms of publishing some of the results that we get from the studies that we conduct or the research. And I'm sure Professor Trix is going to talk much about this, how we disseminate, you know. So if you talked about Fulbright for undergraduates, I'm not sure, but since we have Emmy within the house, she will throw information on that. Let me invite Professor Smith to supplement to see what she can add on to that. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that you, many of you are already doing research on real world problems and coming up with real world solutions. And so I think part of getting that out there is the very thing we were talking about, and learning to write for the public and to write with the community, to write in various genres, not just the academic journal article or book chapter, but to think about policy briefs, to think about websites and blogs that share information with the public, and working with community groups that need the solutions that you've come up with. And that's another way to think about how we do grants as well, how we partner with government and local nonprofits and other organizations that are doing important work in our communities, and working with them and through them to get information into the hands of the people who need it, to affect their particular lives and livelihoods and the work that they're doing. So working in these different genres and with different levels of research, I think will help with that process. In terms of trickle down and the connectivity, for me, every time I do a faculty workshop, part of what I'm doing in that workshop is modeling the ways to work with our students, both our graduate students and our undergraduate students, and sharing techniques and sharing ways to engage them in their writing in classes, to engage them with each other as peer reviewers and networkers and colleagues. In our writing center, we run graduate writing groups that meet weekly. And one of the things in our assessment of those groups is that the graduate students are not only learning about their own writing, they're learning about how to talk about writing and how to support writing of the students that they're TAing with and in the classes that they're teaching. And so we have seen that trickle down happens. We've also seen it invite undergraduate students into research, and making that possible in our classes when we can talk about the whole process of doing the research and writing about it and publishing it in our courses. Then we can invite them in and they can improve. And it is how they get interested in graduate school and moving forward. So we have seen that be able to happen. I've seen it firsthand in the Writing Center for 20 years. So I definitely think that trickle down will happen naturally, but we will also be gearing ourselves towards it. In the training of mentors, it will always be a kind of domino effect to, as people learn things, they share it, and it keeps moving down the line or up the line, but it goes both ways. And I will defer to Amy to talk about Fulbright.
This one on? Oh, good. I'm always happy to talk about Fulbright. So first, to your question about your research project, my advice is separate the two. Fulbright application is a point in time. Apply with what you have right now, and that then stands for your application. And at the same time, yes, take advantage of the resources at the Writing Center to talk about the intellectual property, to talk about your formula, and how do you incorporate that into what you publish. So I would say do both. To our third-year students, unfortunately, you cannot yet apply for the Fulbright student program. And I also recommend for people that are considering the Fulbright student program, we encourage you to not only have your degree, but have some work experience. Because we find that the students that make the most out of a master's or PhD program in the United States are those that already have some real world experience in whatever their field of study is. And this goes to the point that the other gentleman made about connecting with the real issues that are happening in country. And if you are already working in that and have some time working as a veterinarian, working as a psychologist, working at a school as a teacher, when you apply then for scholarship opportunities, you bring not only your academic experience, but also that real world experience, and it makes your application stronger, and you are then able to succeed more when you do the master's degree. So for competitive scholarships like Fulbright, we do encourage some work experience in addition to the bachelor's before you're applying for the master's or PhD. I also want to put in a plug for a website and resource called Education USA. So if you are considering any degree or study opportunity in the United States and want to learn about how to apply, we encourage you to look at Education USA, because there's free resources and guidance for people that are interested to learn about the application process and how you apply not only to a university or program, but also secure scholarship funding. Because in the United States, most universities manage their own application and financial aid packages independently. The Fulbright program is very, very small in comparison to the many opportunities that universities have for students to apply. And I think the more research you can do about the process and align that with your interests, you may be able to find scholarship opportunities for master's degree programs in the United States, in addition to applying for Fulbright. So good luck to you, and I'm glad to hear you're already thinking about next steps and opportunities.
Thank you very much, Amy, for that additional information and clarification. Thank you, our presenters, for sharing with us the results and helping us understand where some of the gaps are as far as our training opportunities are concerned. And thank you very much, audience, for being active listeners and asking the relevant questions, and allow me to put our hands together for the presenters to thank them for the. Thank you.
Yes, it's the project launch. I know that we still had some questions, but we'll try to see how to manage that after the panel discussion. Then I was also guided that it was very important for me to introduce the three professors who are senior mentors. You recall the ones that I requested to stand up so that people get to know them. So we have Professor Reverend Sister Dominique DiPio from the Department of Literature, College of Humanities and Social Sciences at Makerere University. Thank you. Professor Eseza Kakudidi from the Department of Plant Sciences, Microbiology and Biotechnology, College of Natural Sciences, Makerere University. Professor Florence Dujang from the Department of Physics, College of Natural Sciences at Makerere University. We are honored to have you as our senior mentors as we embark on ensuring that we strengthen the Writing Center at Makerere University. And in a very special way to also recognize Mr. Patrick Motebi from the Directorate of Human Resources, Makerere University. He's a research manager under this project. You're welcome. Next, permit me, it's time for the project launch. And I'm glad that we have the principal investigators and also the representative of the ambassador. So it is going to be very simple for us. Let me also invite the co-principal investigators to come over to the podium so that we have the project launch. The co-principal investigators in the room. Yes, both from Michigan State University and also Makerere University. Kindly join us. Yes, and what is going to happen is I'm going to humbly request first our chief guest representing the US ambassador to Uganda. Okay, let's first have that photo. I think the camera team was set and waiting for the photo moment. And it is so simple. They are smiling on our behalf. And the rest of us, we should also return the smiles. It is a special day here. We are strengthening Makerere University's research, grant writing, and publication capacity. This is the project launch. today, Tuesday, 21st March, 2023 at Makerere University, Yusuf Lule Central Teaching Facility Auditorium. Yes, and just after that photo, I humbly request still the chief guests will come here, and then the rest of us will be standing next to the chief guest. The chief guest will officially make an announcement declaring the project launched. So the rest of us, our duty will be to clap with a lot of energy and vigor as that is being made. And so I'm requesting that we balance this up. Some people stand this side and the chief guest will make that pronouncement. Thank you.
Good. Well, it is my honor on behalf of the U.S. Mission in Uganda in partnership with Makerere University to declare the Writing Center officially open.
Yes, all right. Just a minute, we are not yet done. You know, when you have such important things, so many things happen in I was told, let them stand there, then let them come here. Then I've been told just after that pronouncement, there is a banner. Davidson, kindly help me bring the banner that has to be signed. Still, members, it's the launch process by process, right? And in phases. Yes, Davidson Indiabahika is the communication officer, School of Public Health, Makerere University. Let him guide us. This banner, yes, has all the partners, Michigan State University, the logos, U.S. Mission, Makerere University, Grant Writing and Publication Center. And we are going to use this. This is the lovely color to sign on the banner, still in an artistic way of indicating that this has been launched. So we'll start with the chief guest, and then the rest of us, we also have to sign. Thank you. And so what is going to happen now that if we've all signed, we are going to have the banner in the middle of us and we'll stand holding that banner. It's that beautiful. As you sign, remember, people would like to capture as you sign, so you remember there are cameras also somewhere. Okay, so what is going to happen is we are going So once again, we are happy to announce the official launch, yes, of the Grant Writing Center today, 21st March 2023, yes, by the US Ambassador to Uganda, represented by Miss Amy Peterson. Congratulations. Thank you so much. And just before you leave, may I just invite only 2 people to join? The Principal College of Natural Sciences, kindly very fast join that photo. I think that's the principal. And the Director, Gender Mainstreaming Directorate, Makerere University, Dr. Izobia Baine. I think that is a very representative sample. And the people who have joined us, you're smiling on behalf of those online. Yes, congratulations. Thank you so much. Yes, it is now time for us to prepare for the panel discussion. And the next is the panel discussion on research, grant writing, and publishing dash mentorship. Panel discussion, research, grant writing, publishing, and mentorship. And I've been informed this time, I know you love this space where I'm standing, but I've been ably guided that since this is the panel, the microphones for each panelist, the microphone is set next to your seat, right? So Professor Ronald Bisaso, Deputy Principal, College of Education and External Studies, kindly come over. You're the moderator for this panel so that you invite the panelists, and just to ensure that each seat has a table and also a microphone for each panelist. Thank you.
Her Excellency, the US Ambassador to Uganda, represented by Miss Amy Peterson, the Vice Chancellor, and all members of management present, our dear PI and our colleagues from Michigan State University. Ladies and gentlemen, my task is simple, to invite members of this distinguished panel. May I take the honor to invite and request you, distinguished audience, to also join me in welcoming Dr. Samuel Siminyu. Dr. Siminyu is the managing editor of Makerere University Press. And during this discussion for the next 30 or so minutes, we will be reflecting on matters publication with his guidance. Join me in welcoming Mr. Mordecai Taewa, Senior Grants Officer, College of Health Sciences. He will come and give us his perspectives as well. As Mr. Mordecai comes through, allow me invite Dr. Allen Kavagenyi. Dr. Allen, we labeled her an early career researcher, but I'm not very sure. Maybe we will figure out. But she works in Makerere with the School of Statistics and Planning, and she's a demographer. And most importantly, for purposes of this engagement, Dr. Kavagenyi is a fellow of the Uganda National Academy of Sciences. So she's an early career researcher, but she's a fellow of that very serious body. So you're most welcome, Dr. Allen Kavagenyi. Allow me to also invite Dr. Alice Navatanzi from the College of Natural Sciences. Dr. Navatanzi recently was recognized as a winner of a very powerful innovations award. And she teaches cytomedicine. This is what I read. And she has recently been a postdoc at Future Africa campus at the University of Pretoria. So this is our balanced panel. And yours truly is Ronald Bisaso, who will be moderating this one. So without taking much time as we get other microphones here, I should like to start off with just a very simple question about your impressions around the findings. And this segment will take us for about 3 minutes each. And may I start from my extreme right, Mr. Mordecai Tayewa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I hope we are all well, and we've so far enjoyed the different sessions that have been happening since morning. I just want to say thank you so much for putting this forward. Oftentimes, these are areas that oftentimes researchers overlook and actually don't think that they are actually very, very key. And therefore, this is an opportunity where we get to share some of the different ideas. So I'll focus my discussion on a couple of areas. And one of them is around grant writing. It's a big topic, but I'll be specific because we all do write grants. But the question is, the grant that you've been able to write, will it be able, to be given money from the funder? And sometimes we can all write, everyone that is in this space can actually write, correct? But the question is, what you're writing, is it something that will motivate me as a funder who is giving money to continue and say, yes, this is feasible, this is realistic, let's go ahead and give money. Now, I want to tell you that from the beginning, some of you who are of age, you've seen those days would have different funders submitting RFS or the request for application. And then you find that these different funders, actually what they do is that you would actually make the package, put it maybe on DHL, or maybe walk physically and deliver it as an individual. But these days, things have actually changed. You note that these days you only send an email with your attachments and you actually can be given an award. Now, I'm saying this because I want us to appreciate how things have been changing. Now, currently, we know that writing a grant is a competition. And I always want to project a picture. I always want to reference more on NIH, because you note that if you look at the pile of applications that NIH would receive at a point in time, you would even be shocked to the point that how would these reviewers be able to review these applications and actually be able to give these awards on time. And this is just to inform the team that is here that we need to know that even as we start to write our grants, and to know that these grants will actually be successful, we need to know for starters that this is a competition, all right? And after knowing that it's a competition, that means that you have to do what we call persuade the funder or persuade the reviewer who is actually reviewing your proposal. Now, persuading, I always give a formula that success is equal to preparation plus opportunity, which means that if you are not ready, are we together? You will not be able to succeed. So it takes time, which means we as people who are actually more interested in writing grants, we must know that we must prepare before we submit. Now, persuading has two aspects. And the first aspect is you need to move to the side of the reviewer, because these grants, the determinant is based on what the reviewers have put forward in your evaluation statement. So which means that you need to move to the side of the reviewer, meaning that understand the purpose for which the call has been put forward. And once you've been able to understand that, then that means that you will be able to move now the reviewers to your side. And that is the second step. Are we together? And once you've done that, make sure that you, within what we call the RFA, which is the request for application, or the funding opportunity that you're addressing, you need to review it and be able to look through and understand what is the criteria that these reviewers are using while they are reviewing your application. So which means that once you've moved to the side of the reviewer, and then you move the reviewers towards your side, you actually cause them to make a decision. And guess what? The decision will be giving you the award. Now, there is what we call persuading. We also need to appreciate that reviewing a proposal to be a success or to be awarded or to be put forward for funding, reviewing itself is very emotional. It's an emotional kind of process. So you need to convince the reviewer or the funder, why do you think things should not stay the way they are? Are we together? So which means that make sure that you explain your problem, explain it in a way that it's addressing the purpose for that specific RFA, and then make sure that you actually explain what the problem is and why you think things should not stay the way they are. I don't know whether I'm communicating. Are we together? I don't want to leave anybody behind. I want us to move on the same page. So because here we are looking at how do we make our proposal that we are submitting a success? What will make you be given an award at an expense of other thousands and thousands of people who are all applying for the same call? And these are the few basic tips that you have to keep on your fingertips. Are we together? Then the other important aspect that we also have to know is that we have to be prepared and use what we call them pre-application. Pre-applications here we are looking at, look at that specific funder for which you are responding to and ascertain what proposals have been written before by this specific funder in line with what you would like to actually do. And this takes me to the point that if it is EU, you can check the EU website, and sometimes within that specific request for application, there is an opportunity that comes where you can actually have contacts of those specific people that have been aligned or that have been put there to actually help you be able to ask questions before you actually do apply. And I always give an example. One time we were working on a specific application, and then we reached a point and we were all stuck. And then we were like, no, let's go through this RFA again. And then we went and found that there was that in case you need more information, you can contact this email. So we actually made a phone call directly to the states and we asked, we are trying to puzzle, these are our specific aims. What do you think we can do? Is it feasible? And so we got actually clearance from the project officer that this was fine and we could actually proceed and submit the application. So it helped us to zero down, not to waste time. And so we're able to submit that grant, and I'm happy to share with the team that that grant was actually awarded. And one of the co-PIs that was here is actually the lead PI for that application. And the other interesting part is that if you're going towards NIH still, in their RFA as well, you find that there is guidance that can actually help you be able to put your application together to be a success. Not forgetting that most of the funders that we have actually have applications that have performed well, and they've gone ahead to flag these out on their website. And these are parts where you pick and say, let me see how Professor Bisaso wrote his abstract. Do a comparison with what you are doing on your side. And if there is something you see you're missing, then you're able to capture. Meaning that if you want to write a grant and be successful, you don't have to base on your own judgment. You have to be able to look into what other people have done, because you're not the first person that has managed to actually go ahead and write grants. Now, I know that I could talk the whole day, but I want to specifically hint on one example that I always give every time I'm given an opportunity to share. When you're writing a grant, you actually do not need only technical people. From experience, that's what I've been able to pick. Now, you would have the technical people who will do the best methodology that every reviewer will look at and say, give the money. But you find that even people that are not technical, they are actually very key because they can review, they can guide you, they can check the English, check the grammar, which are things that oftentimes we neglect when we are writing grants. Now, this is an example we faced. We were writing a grant, and like you can see Bisaso Peter, for example. And then we wrote Bisas P. So we sent it to our colleague for review. Now, when our colleague got the application, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, we said we need the application back because we need to have it submitted. We received the same, but it was renamed as, maybe if you're Bisaso Peter, like BP edits. And so when we received it back, when we checked, we found out that he had actually not even found that his name had an error. So it was a sign that actually this person that we were using to help us review our application did not even give it time to actually look at it. So here, this calls upon ourselves to know that you need to know how to select your team. And I always say we are all manimals. Every human being has a characteristic of an animal. So we have people who are very vigilant. We have people who rush. We have people who are like monkeys. They help the team not to lose hope. You know, so as you form up your team to be able to put your application together, you must put all those into consideration. Now, always remember that even as you write the proposal, for it to be successful, there is an important component within the component of the proposal, which we call the budget. And oftentimes we give it little attention. Now, I must share with the team and my panelists here that the budget is your mirror reflection of your science, which means that if what you're proposing does not have a monetary reflection, then you are not feasible to be given money. So if you're proposing that you will do some spirometry tests, that is within your research strategy, then you must be able to have a monetary value, whether you're going to purchase a spirometry machine or you're going to hire a spirometry machine to do your tests. So if you are proposing or you are writing a training grant, for example, and then on this other side, you are writing, I'll need a research nurse, I'll need a medical doctor, I'll need a nurse, I'll need a psychiatrist, and yet you know that you are actually doing a training grant. Now that is a reflection to the reviewer who are actually reviewing your application that you are actually not acquainted or you do not know what you actually are planning to do. Because the training grant, then how will you relate it to you having a nurse? However, if you're doing a research grant that you know you will need some lab services, maybe you need a nurse, maybe you will need a lab technologist. So which means that make sure that all your components within your proposal speak to one another. I've been a reviewer for NIH. I was selected to review for NIH some time ago. And you would find that when you are scoring, those are some of the key things you look out for. And some people sometimes do neglect them, but they're very, very pertinent. Now, as I wind up, because we'll still continue to engage, so that I give the opportunity to my other panelists to say a thing, is that always remember that, for example, if you are, some of you, when you see an application, maybe the US mission has put up something on their website. You know, there's this call, you need to apply for it. It's worth maybe maybe $1 million US dollars. And you say, this is the opportunity we have been looking for. It is in our line, it is in our scope. Now, while you are writing you say now we needed this kind of screen. We needed this. So you ask for many equipment. That is a sign that your particular area or your particular institution does not have the ability to manage their award. So you need to be very, very smart. But if you come and say, this is what I have available, and I would need additional funds to support me do this, it will motivate the reviewer or even the funder himself or herself to say, no, I think this is the right person or this is the right institution that we need to give money. And always work with people who have written before. They have they have experience. And just to inform us, because some of us have been, maybe could have been in this writing field before, but maybe you've not been successful. My advice to you is don't give up. Continue to write. As you write, writing becomes an experience. Make writing fun. That's how you can be able to win. My former supervisor was a lady who was my mentor. And she gave me an RFA and told me, I want you to draft for me a title, do an abstract, and do a specific aims page. I looked at the RFA, I could not even structure, not even a title. And so I'm like, what is this? I went back and said, I failed. She laughed at me and said, go back, you'll figure out. But I don't regret, because at this point in time, I give guidance. I actually can write. I've written grants that have been successful, but it's hard work. Meaning that if you fail now and fail tomorrow, let it give you the opportunity to write more. Because if they put you together with somebody who has never written a grant, then you'll have better experience or more experience than this person who is starting afresh. So with those few remarks, I want to say thank you for listening, and we're still here to interact. I'm happy to receive questions, and I'm open for my fellow panelists to add on a few things on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mordecai, for sharing with us your perspectives about the project, but at the same time, giving us insights, because as we all know, the first top priority for early career researchers is grant writing. Then one which is advanced is proposal writing. So he has tried to give some tips around us trying to adapt to this, which we consider very essential for our growth. But as you spoke, you told people not to give up. And sometimes the research that they are applying for also keeps changing. And so I will, in the next segment, invite Dr. Alice Navatanzi, and I will ask her to give her opening statement, but at the same time, illuminate for us some of the emerging trends in research and how researchers can stay up to date with these developments. Dr. Alice Navatans.
Thank you very much, Prof. And thank you so much for the PI for taking this initiative to come up with this grant writing, session, etc. Writing is not for everyone. I'm sorry, it's not discouraging, but you find even someone is a professor, but they cannot write. So I don't know why you said early career researchers, but then also professors do not know how to write, because writing is a skill. It's a skill you develop over time. And then as we've gotten the opportunity, thank God, but there are people who are in their 60s and their 50s who never got the opportunity. So Prof, maybe you should think about it, because writing is something you develop over time. My perspective for grant writing is that it comes with so many frustrations. Yeah, it comes with so many frustrations. But the key to avoiding this frustration is, one is not that any call that comes your way you apply. It's not discouraging. Not any call that comes your way you're supposed to apply. Look at their priorities and also go to their website. Their grants you'll never win. That is it. When you look at their website, you look at the people who have gotten these grants. Some you'll never win them. Some are for Europeans only. Some, you'll never win them. So if you always waste your time, everything that passes by, then you try applying, everything passes by, you'll get so frustrated. And then also, about writing is knowing your limits. As an early career researcher, why would you, okay, you'll say luck, but why would you go for a grant of $2 million that you're applying as a PI? Because, most of these funders consider past, grants you've won. You can't say you won $10,000 and then you're applying for $2 million. You'll not get the money. You'll get frustrated. I know it's so attractive that this grant is so nice. I can apply with my friends, but we should learn also to work. And there are some good professors who can put you as co-PIs or part of the project. But in all this, you learn to write your own grant with time. And also your records, it will show that you're part of a grant which was what? $2 million, meaning they can trust you with bigger funds if you have got other funds. Then creativity and innovation are key to this. Think outside the box. Don't write things people are writing. There are things people like writing. So if you continue writing the same thing, there'll be no difference and you'll not get the funds. So you have to be creative. Creativity, it comes over time. It is not something you go and learn in class. Being creative is, get out of this academic thing, look at the real world, and then you'll win. And age limits is very important. There are things we didn't do that we'd want to do, especially in these grants. Most of these grants have a limit on your age. So the more you take opportunity before your age clock, the better. Because most of them, they'll give 35 and below. Even some have started 30 and below. Some will say 40 and below. So it is always good to use as early career researchers. I don't know the age limit, but then it's always good to use that opportunity. For that time, you still have the age, you're in the gap to apply. I think that's what I can say. And then also mentors. Mentors are very important. I think it's very essential when choosing a mentor. It's mentors who inspire us. I had a mentor, Prof. Lal. She was my postdoc mentor. But you see how she does her thing. This is a person who is like, I think early 50s or something. Someone has 16 patents. People have retired without patents, right? And then you're like, how does she do it? But you look at how she does her thing, how she makes the students, how she engages them, how she allows them to bring out their project. Not stealing them, but to work as a group. And when you see that, then you are like, I want to be like Prof. Lal. Because mentors should be a star above us. They should be someone you look to and you're like, I want to be like them. They are always inspired. So let me go to the let me go to the question, like, what are the emerging trends in research that are likely to shape the future of academia, and how can the researchers stay up to date with this development? First, emerging trend is collaboration versus competition. Don't think, there are these traditional things. You sit in your office, you write your proposal, you're hiding it. Someone comes and then you're like, they're going to steal my idea. This is old fashioned. We are in the world of collaboration. That is an emerging trend. You need collaborators from all over the place. So that is one. And then the second one is we're going into applied research. Do research that is going to make a difference. I was so fascinated by the stem cell research by Mark Post. He's a university professor. Who came up with meat. The meat, cultured meat. You step on the animals being slaughtered. A few samples of the meat can be used cultured, and you feed 1 million people with lab-based meat. I know you'll have your ethical issues and all those things, but it is something which is so fascinating in that he didn't only stop at doing the stem cell research, but also universities are going into commercializing the discovery. And you find that over the years, he has gotten like 247 investors, because this comes with investment. They're also interested. And then another thing, another development that is coming up is technology-enabled research. It is technology now. For example, examples of technology, we know that Cas9, I'm sorry, I'll use so many examples from science because I'm more used to that. So we have the Cas9 gene editing, we have the computational tools, the Quatric, we have the ODK. Do people still go to the field with paper questionnaires? I don't know, but I don't do that. I don't know, you get a bunch of 100 or 300 questionnaires and you go to the field, they get wet. Why not use your phone? And then we have the wearable devices, especially in clinical trials. This is very easy to collect information from the patient, as opposed to the traditional things. You're disturbing the patient, you're asking them questions, sometimes they're not in their mood, etc. And then also the smartphone-based apps, at least ICT is trying, they're trying. Yes, the smart-based phone app. So those are the things you are going into. And now the second question is, so he also said, yeah, whereas these are the trending things, how are we going to, how are you going to stay up to date with this development? One is having research commons. A research common is, second example, this is the space. You have a data analyst who is there, you can consult. You have an expert librarian, not just a librarian, an expert librarian, whom when you ask something, they can easily go in online databases and get you what you want. You can have seminars from here. You can meet, faculty members from here. So research commons are very important. It versus the running all over the place. ICT, you run to ICT department. Then the library, you go, people are not experts enough. They cannot tell you what you want. And then you want a data analyst to run all over the place to statistics. So research commons are key in this staying up to date. And then blended teaching and research, not necessarily e-learning. Okay, e-learning is technology, but especially in sciences. You find someone is studying from here, then they have to work to get a lab. But studying in the same laboratory environment is key. And then we have connecting researchers. Matchmaking. Matchmaking, usually people know it for dating sites. No, you can have matchmaking sites for researchers. Why? This helps to easily, find someone you're interested in collaborating with, or someone with same areas of interest in case you want to write a proposal. And this is opposed to the traditional things. You go to the Makerere website, start looking at College of Health Science, whom do I want? And then sometimes, it's off. And then you're all over the place. So these sites are very important. You have people's profiles, so you can use them. And then, so that is how we can stay up to date. And then the second question was, how can researchers ensure that their work is accessible and relevant to diverse audiences, including our policymakers, our practitioners, and our general public? First and foremost is TDR research, like transdisciplinary research. get out of your cocoons. You like saying, what? I'm a mathematician. I'll stay in the mathematics building. I'm a psychologist. I mean, that is old style. This time is TDR. TDR is, for example, I do natural products research. So if I want to develop a drug, let me say, who are the stakeholders along my value chain? I have the ministers. I have NCRI, Dr. Nambatia. I have the people on the ground, the local practitioners, or the local people on the ground, because they're the custodians of IK. And then you have the practitioners in the market. Then when you realize there is a gap of standardization, you all have to sit on one table for things to work. So that is one way of ensuring that your work is accessible. And then secondly is policy informing research. Do research that informs policy. It's not just doing anything for your MSc or anything for your PhD. I always talk to some of my friends. I tell them, let me talk about Uganda. We have so many people with PhDs. But I mean, if all those PhDs would translate into solving a problem in Uganda, will we still be having problems? No, but people have that traditional thing. I'm done with a PhD, you get your thesis, share with the libraries. So that's not enough. And with policy informing research is that you come up with interventions, you publish your policy brief. This will attract the ministers. This will attract the members of parliament. And with policy informing research, also one key principle is doing bottom-up approach. If you're looking at a situation of pollution, go to the people in that area. If you're looking at a situation of a disease, go to the people in that area. You'll be able to make informed intervention as compared to being in office. You're seated, you're trying to Google all over the place and thinking of things that will not work. So it's very important because once these policies come into place, your research will be all over the place. And then thirdly is society changing research. Solve a problem. Solve a problem in your society. I know we have issues of funders want us to do this and that, but when you have the opportunity, because there are those who don't dictate, you solve a problem. And then also mindset change. Yeah, change starts from your mind. Your mind, you're an academician, you're a professor, you're supposed to sit in your office, you're supposed to be respected by the society, but you'll not bring about change if you don't change your mind that also I need to sit down with a person on ground. I need a funny politician whom you call funny or something. So get out of this mindset of superiority. And then another thing is, so I think that's it. But then all these come with limitations, obvious. Yes, we've talked of the trend is do TDR research. TDR research is very expensive. You'll not engage ministers all over the place with nothing. You'll not go to the village people wasting their time, but also we know ethically, when you go for interventions in village people, you have to compensate them for their time, a transport refund, breakfast or lunch. So it comes with money. And also another limitation is lack of infrastructure, especially scientists in the labs. You have a lab which has 3 weighing balances. These are basic things. You're training 100 students, it will not work, it will not happen. So that is also a step back, a challenge. And then the bureaucratic processes. Sometimes some things are so frustrating about this whole thing. You want to come up with something, then you have to go to this office, the person is not in the mood, they've gone out for lunch. Bureaucratic processes are also a problem too. Staying up to date because they'll not help you move forward. And then blogging versus the traditional ways of dissemination. I want to talk this in staying up to date because we have these traditional things. For example, you call people here, then you start reading to them. My findings were ABC plus. You will not create impact. Blog, you have influencers. If it is science communication has to come in. How do I communicate my science to a layperson? Yes, some things will not change. But remember in COVID-19, everyone had to learn the word quarantine. It's a scientific word, but even the local person, however they pronounced it, they had to learn it. So science communication is key, and also blogging and influencing is far more important, or it reaches out to many people as compared to these things of put on the website. How many people will visit Makerere website? No one will visit it. So that is also another way. I think that's it. Then also we have an issue of dictation from funders. Obviously, some funds have rules and regulations, what to do and what not to do. So in that way, you may not change society in so many ways, because I mean, the challenge they'll present may not be the challenge in your society. So that's it. That's all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alice Navatanzi. I know most of us and those colleagues online are taking notes, because at the end of this segment, we should be able to also raise some few questions or ideas that should constitute our take home, because this should be very interactive, and we can already map ourselves whether we are competing or collaborating. We can also pay attention to the earlier issues she raises. You should not run around applying for everything. You should know your limits. And then she advises that creativity and innovation cannot be learned from the classroom just by attending a few lectures here and there, and several other important points. But at the beginning, she was very clear. She said, mentors are very important. And she also clearly indicated that there are some very good professors who can be very good mentors and provide the support. And we were also earlier on introduced to very senior mentors in the room. I would like now to again invite Dr. Allen Kavagenyi, who will give us her insights about the project and any pertinent issues that she has seen through, but also specifically speak to how mentorship support can be entrenched in our career development, and also give us some insights about the qualities of a good mentor, so that we are in position to position ourselves in grant writing, understanding the trends, also be humble and creative. Dr. Allen Kavagenyi.
Thank you very much, moderator, Professor. I congratulate the team, the PIs, and most importantly, also the team from Michigan State University for this great collaborative work. Very, very importantly, I just want to mention that this is quite timely. It comes in at a point when we need, not as a nation, but needs information. The world needs quality research. So therefore, us being, we are actually showing interest. And so I congratulate each one of you who is here, who has made time, not only as an early career researcher, but most importantly, ready to and mostly also for this. So I also want to take note of the fact that when we mention grants writing and you're talking about publication, I think it's very, very important for each one of us to identify the great needs that the world is talking about. I'll use examples. For instance, we're talking about the Sustainable Development Goals. Where do you place yourself? What is your value addition? What contribution are you going to make to the global, for instance? I'm just using that as an example. There could be an agenda that is for Africa. What about, if I may pitch on to the message that we've just had from Her Excellency, the Ambassador, when they mentioned that there are so many collaborations that are available, linking universities, you know, from the US, again, to African universities. And you had also, when you listen into the strategic focus that is there from the USA. So the question, there are so many other opportunities, but what is very, very important is you asking yourself, especially for those of you who have signed up for this program, where do I want to place myself? What is the value addition? What contribution am I going to leave? Or perhaps to some people, they prefer saying a legacy. The question, it's up to you what you want to speak. So there are many opportunities, and that's what I want to begin with, that there are very, very many opportunities. However, how do you place yourself? And allow me to go to the question that he has asked, the importance of mentors. Now, before you look out for mentors, are you ready to be mentored? Are you available? What are you looking for? What is it that you want to learn? What are your weaknesses? So it has to begin, first of all, with yourself. Identify your weaknesses. After identifying your weaknesses, I can use some examples. Perhaps it could be like now we're talking about grant writing. I want to write grants. I am in Makerere University. The vision of the university now, it is a research-led university, right? You have to place yourself. There are no shortcuts in life. And once you've identified your, as in your strengths, weaknesses, and then the need, you get to want to understand what are the different collaborations that are available. What about the partnerships? And once you do that, of course, the importance of a partnership is being able to be, rather mentorship, being able to get that one person. Actually, I received some note this morning where, you know, that one person who is willing to mention your name in a place of opportunities or in a room where the opportunities, that one person who is going to walk with you that journey. So it takes me to the response or the question that have been asked. What are some of the qualities? You have to look out for that person who has the subject expertise. Is it about winning NIH grants? Is it about winning the global grants? Is it about networking? What is it that that person has? And then once you have identified that person, then you reach out to those people. But then as you reach out to those people, look out for that person who is available. Is that he or she is willing to mentor. I talk about it, I say, oh my goodness, this is my mentor, the other one is my mentor. But remember, because of that specific expertise that they have, you may find an all-round person. However, there are those who are very good in certain skills. It is okay to, nowadays we talk about tag along. It is okay to tag along. When we were presented the results of the scoping analysis, so the preliminary analysis that has been done to inform this, we noted, or you identified, or you must have seen, where some colleges have already grants management units, you know. In some schools, I know that there are even calls that are, you know, they are specific. There's information that goes out to members of staff that, by the way, this is a list of the different calls that are available. Can you make friends to some of those places or such, you know, opportunities that you can tap into? So you're looking at a person as you're looking out for these different opportunities. That mentor ideally should be available, should be able to create time for you, should be able to add value to you. But most importantly, wants the best out of you, wants to see you. This should be the very first person who is going to ululate you, in other words, and say, hey, I'm so happy you have made it. They should be able to link you to different partnerships and collaborations. They should be able to walk that journey with you and give you positive criticism, constructive criticism that you should also be able to take in. Not necessarily, oh, you know, I can't, you know, this person doesn't wish me well. And actually, if you get into that moment where you cannot go along with a mentor, that person ceases to be a mentor because you're going to fight along the way. And just to inform you, there are people out there who are ready and willing to support. We usually talk about the notion like, you know, when people climb, when they make it, then they throw the What do? They throw the ladder down. I don't believe in that. One person may do that. There are others who are willing. They are very excited and happy to hold the hands of other people. I have done it for my graduate students. Actually, at the point I used to push, I would tell them we have to write. There's nothing like writing dissertations and then you have the reports in there. I say, you come, you're part of you're going to be my mentee. And then we even make agreements. What are our outputs? Now I'm speaking just to grant, say, publications. You're supporting them through the process and you tell them this is what we're aiming. They are leading the process and you're walking the path with them. But I've also had an opportunity to be mentored. And to be honest, I tell people we stand tall on top of shoulders of those who have made it because we are able to be wherever we are because there are other people who have supported us. They've held our hands and gotten us to the places where we'd want to be. In brief.
It appears we wanted to hear more. But we will certainly get back to you. She has spoken fluently about mentorship. And when she asks the question, are you willing to be mentored? I saw the Professor, Reverend Sister Dominic DiPio acknowledging, saying, yes, are they willing? And otherwise, you also become a challenge. And so with that understanding of oneself, you certainly then move into that space of mentorship. And again, I'm just picking a few. You make all these very excellent points, but you say that one person willing to mention your name. That one person without linking, just willing to mention your name, that this one can do this. And so, dear early career researchers and mid-career researchers, I think this conversation enables us to further reflect and ask those very serious questions about our career paths, because we are not going to retire tomorrow. We are here and we are supposed to make these contributions to the institution. So thank you very much, Dr. Kavagenyi, for that very good submission, which builds on the earlier submissions. Colleagues, we are now moving to, just before I invite you, I would like to move to, sure.
Thank you so much. Just a minute. I just wanted to just add on what my fellow panelist has been able to put forward to us, especially around mentorship. As a person, I really love mentorship, but we also need to know that mentorship runs on 3 C's, which is clarity, communication, and also commitment. And I just want to also bring this forward, that mentorship does not only look at the mentee, but also it also looks at the mentor themselves. And there's some things that we, as for some of us that are in this house today, some of us are actually mentors. And so we need to know that there's some things we have to put into consideration. And one of them is we need to be able to communicate. We need to be able to listen. And we need to also be able to let the mentees oversee their own career path. You do not, even in your mentoring, you don't want to twist them off what their career is. And we also need to know that we need to offer constructive criticism as mentors, but also we also need to appreciate the fact that we need to practice what we call empathy. These are very, very important things for mentors. Now, you also need to let your mentee make decisions. And those are the only things I wanted to add on. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you. Could you kindly repeat the 3 C's for purposes of, at least they will know, like we used to learn the 3 R's, you know, reading, writing, arithmetic. Now we take home the 3 C's. Please, Mordecai.
So it is clarity, communication, and commitment.
So both parties should be clear. They should be able to communicate and they should be able to commit. And Alice Navatan said that there should be those matching sites in research as well. We should not only think about dating, but think about those research matching sites so that you can find who to work with. Maybe your mentor in the future with expertise is around that. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, our first time is running fast, but we cannot end this panel without listening to the man behind the University Press. And as we all know, whatever we do has to be communicated. And the primary way we communicate is through publishing so that others can read, we add to knowledge, and people reflect about whatever we have written. Dr. Sam Siminyo, I will not ask you to speak to specific questions, but of course I know you're in position to highlight to us, the audience, some of the common mistakes that early career researchers may make as they try to publish, and possibly how some of this could be avoided. But I'm also alive to the fact that some early career researchers may even fear the University Press, thinking that it's for the professors. Alice was saying that some professors don't have grants, which is true. So some early career researchers may be prolific, but they fear to go to the University Press. So we said, no, this gentleman will share with us his insights. And he will also possibly touch on some of the issues already highlighted here, how we could engage and even communicate to the policymakers and other actors using our knowledge of communication and publishing. And of course, last but not least, the peer review process. Mordecai was talking about issues to do with the reviewers sometimes getting emotional, but sometimes we get also rejections and these pieces are thrown out. Maybe we are asked to respond and we may delay. And it also breeds a bit of frustration. Maybe we should also know our limits. Do we go to top-notch journals first, or we try these ones and gain confidence? But it's a cocktail. You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Ronald. He happens to be my deputy principal at the college. And I'm grateful for the opportunity for Munyodi and your OPIs for the opportunity to share the platform with colleagues, but also for the provocative venture you've gone into. Because this is something that many of us who are into writing and publishing have seen elsewhere and have thought, why can't we have it in Makerere, the writing center particularly? Because some of us who are privileged to sit behind the desk to edit what comes from our staff, from our students, you actually look back and say, there's a lot of lost opportunity. People never had the background they needed. And like one of my colleagues on the panel has said, recently as Makerere University Press, we ran a training program funded by REEF to train people in scholarly publishing. And you can't believe it. a number of professors joined us to learn, not to teach us, to learn, telling you they are conscious, even at the point they are, there is something they missed along the way. I had the privilege of being inspired fairly early by a teacher of English called Mr. Kiondo, who was father to my friend Florence Ujanga, who is your mentor here. I remember when we were in senior one in 79 in Valley High School, saying, I have a daughter who is a professor at Makerere. Florence was already working here. And so she became my model as a sister to follow. Unfortunately, I followed the father's example in what subject to pursue. While she was doing physics, me, I went in for the English, which the dad was doing, and ended up here in the literature department doing English and literature under Sister DPO's tutelage. Me, when I was an undergraduate. So I was mentored. And then, of course, surprisingly, I get out and I start to work with the distance education department, training staff in developing materials. And I have Professor Kapudidi coming to my class to be trained to write materials for science. I said, who am I to train a professor? So all your mentors here have, along the way, mentored me somehow, and we have mentored each other along the way. So this is something that is key that we need to pick up on to say, what is it that we can do as an institution to put in place organs and processes that will do what others are doing elsewhere. Thank you, Michigan, for being exemplary to us and being willing to work with us over this issue. I was part of the process of setting up the Institute of Open Distance and E-Learning fairly early. I think I was the second generation of the very first people. And it is, you can see what it's doing, especially following the COVID period. I've also been part of setting up the publishing house for the university. When people talk of the university press, they think of the printer. No, this is a publishing house. We accept manuscripts, we process them and publish them as printed books. We've been doing monographs mainly, but down the road, we are working on journals as well. We have a number of journals around the university, but they are not under the press. We are thinking of a way to link them up. I know Michigan has a publishing house. I'm wondering, will I have a chance to peep in there too and learn from the colleagues on how to do it the big way? We've been in the process of revising our press for 6 years now, and we are crawling along in the challenge. So we'd love to publish online and everywhere else. I think without research, without proper writing skills, without grants, you know, it's an entire ecosystem. And we need to know that individually and collectively, we have a responsibility to develop our capacities. My sister Florence, I call her Mutoni, that's the maiden name she had, studied physics. And she could be satisfied that she's a physicist. But down the road, she has to develop skills in attracting resources to finance her research. She has to know how to write that physics in a language that a commoner can understand and utilize it in whatever she has purposed the research for, and so on and so forth. So what I'm saying is these skills we are talking about here are lifelong, and they are interrelated. If you have chosen an academic career, part of it is research. And research will not just stop at crafting proposals in a specific field and gathering data and analyzing it and producing a dissertation or a report. It goes further than that. And then it also includes mentoring others along the same path. And the challenge is how you link this up into your professional practice. It also means that you have to connect with others. Really, no one of us that can be excellent at all these things all by themselves on their own from the beginning to the end. Somebody has just challenged us here about ICTs that are coming in. You learned to collect data the way I did, using my hard copy questionnaire. Now they say there is technology that I need to sit down and learn that. By the way, I'm currently a student at a US university, University of Arizona. We are doing a course instructional design, performance improvement, master level course. And people are asking me, after PhD, honestly, what are you still studying for? Hi, fellows elsewhere are doing certain new things. We need to learn. And when we learn, bring them home, share with the others, modify them for local use. You know, you are the one who will be competent to do that. I often ask my colleagues who have studied abroad and worked abroad and say, what did you learn apart from the physics, apart from the mathematics? What did you learn about the way those people do their thing that can transform the way we do things? And one of these is the study center. The writing center. One of these is coordinated ways of doing things where we have institutional frameworks to help us work across disciplines, across the university, across universities, with the community. I was just recalling when they were talking of grant writing that I was one of those who benefited from the Carnegie Corporation of New York sponsorship. Some years back, we did what was called fundraising fundamentals course here, sponsored by an American corporation. 3 years training. I was actually trained as one of the 4 trainers of trainers who are in Dar es Salaam, colleagues from all over East Africa being trained. Out of the 4, I am the only survivor still around. The other 3 have moved on. But what did we do after that? There was no institutional framework for us to continue the capacity building for grant writing. 15 years later, we are beginning again. Thank God for the Americans that are patient with us. If I were the one, I would have thrown you out already. But can we institutionalize this? I know we lost that opportunity of setting up a grants training project because we were competing. Us in adult education, Institute of Adult and Community Education at the time, I think we are the right people to handle this. Let's train the rest of the time. So there was a program in the planning unit who said they were the ones to handle it because they were the ones handling the project. So you are not a and then. So about 4 competitors, and eventually nobody does anything. This is not Professor to die with it. He has sponsored us, with his colleagues from Michigan. Can we buy it? Can we own this? I would love that if I could, by the time I leave, add something to the language, the writing center. I will know I made a contribution to distance education, which is surviving. I made a contribution to the university press. I've made a contribution to the writing center. That I would walk away very proud with my gray hairs because I have done something for Makerere. I pray the PIs will fight towards that. Let's have this in place. The brains you have brought together, the enthusiasm you are seeing here, let's cultivate it. Let's take it across the university and let's make sure it works for us. I would like just take a few minutes to respond to some of the questions that the moderator has requested. I am speaking last, and I know I'm fighting against enzymes that want to digest food, not ideas. But permit me to say a few things before we get out of here. Issues with publishing. Just like we have said about many other things, your venture as a researcher does not stop with collecting data and writing a report and getting marks. Somebody asked a very fundamental question. How are we going to ensure that the research we do addresses the issues around us? Actually, it's based on the issues around you. But after you have done it, you shelve it and you work on. And that publishing comes in to bridge that gap. to take from the shelf, transform it into what is usable by various constituencies in the community. And that, aligning the purpose of your research with the audience that requires that information will help you decide on the channel through which you will communicate that those research findings. If what you have researched has added new knowledge to your field of study, maybe you want to share with your fellow experts in that field. What is it that they pay attention to? Abstracts, so that they can get a feel of what you have done. Maybe there's a collection of abstracts for a conference appear there. Conference presentations, that's where your fellow experts are. Could be, platforms, online platforms that they all subscribe to or read from, you share with that. But then there are other people like the politicians, policy makers, who you want. Somebody asked about controlling the wearing out of our roads because of the floods and so on. Who is interested in that? It's the policy maker. It is the funder. It is. So how do you reformat that information for the benefit of this? How about issues that you have researched that are for the community? It could be even required that you put something in their local language. A friend of mine did research on beekeeping. He has been an expert in that for a while. So he has done 2 books that we are publishing. One on beekeeping simplified. The science is out, just ordinary things, but based on research, scientific research. So that book, even I, the teacher of English, can use it to keep bees. I don't need to go into the difficult science, which I can't understand. But he has also put it in Runyachitara, one of our local languages, so that the people who can't read English and want to keep bees. I was reminded of this elderly widow whom I had contact with right from the border with Tanzania, somewhere in Western Uganda. And she was here in Kampala. She saw vanilla for the first time and said, I must plant this. She's totally illiterate. She took her seedlings and started to plant vanilla. And she's now making money. A widow. Actually, her only daughter that is at home with her is even mentally disturbed. So, here she was with a zeal to transform her life through. How do you reach out to such people when you have researched into vanilla farming without being too complicated? Maybe she just needs pictures and something verbal in her local language. So that audience content match will help you decide on the medium through which you will communicate. So there will be this whole range. Fellow academics, what is it that they look at? What is it you want to communicate with them? And how do you phrase your thing so that it comes with the technicality they expect and you say, I have added this. There will be policy makers, politicians, administrators, managers. Is there something they benefit from your research? How do you frame it? They don't have that much time to look at your 300-page report. Which channels do they pay attention to? Maybe you need Rita to take you to the TV station. And so how do you say what you did in 3 minutes on a TV station and influence the politician to come to look and say, can I have a little more? And what little more would you give them? How have you packaged it? And then are you addressing the young people, young girls who are dropping out of school because of XY? And you've researched in that and you think beyond talking to their parents, beyond talking to the teachers, you also, what do the young people listen to? Where do they go to find information? How do you package your information so that it can go on Twitter, it can go on Facebook? So all these channels depend on the audience and the purpose for which you are publishing. And finally, just to say something about Makerere University Press. We are currently doing books. So a number of publications we have are actually products of research by our colleagues here. People did PhD researches, master's researches, and they think there is something that they came up with that they need to share with the community. And we work with them to transform those into materials that can be used for teaching, for influencing policy, for practice. And then there are others who are developing materials for teaching. Say we are teaching Runyachitara, for instance, and who is going to publish books on Runyachitara if we don't do it? Because Makerere introduced that language course in the whole country. It's now being taught elsewhere, but who is publishing in it? So we take that on. Even in the areas, you might say a lot of what we read about a specific discipline, examples are from all over the world, is nothing specific for Uganda. We take that on as a priority and we make provision for that. But we also go even as far as producing fiction. One of our best-selling books is What I Saw When I Died. I wish I had came with copies here so everyone of you would want to know what James Spire Sentongo saw when he died. But he's still alive, and so he had the opportunity to tell us the story. Everybody, as far as Tanzania, Kenya, are calling us to ask, how can I find a copy of this? And our students of literature utilize it for satirical writing. And that's now satire on our local situation. It's different from trying to read satire on the American system where you haven't been, and it may not communicate as immediately as satire on our situation does. So we try to address our local situations with the best brain we have and in the best way we can. We publish in hard copy. We also go online for the wider community. Finally, university work is always what we call global. It's global and local at the same time. As institutions, yeah, that's what we are. And when we do work, that's what it should be. We must measure up to what is done internationally, because that's what university is. It's universal. And so this partnership should give us opportunity to gauge ourselves against the best. You know, they say you might think you are the tallest when you are only the tallest dwarf. You know, on the continent, you may appear like a giant, but when you stand by Michigan State University, you wonder whether you are still a giant. But then there is an opportunity to say, what is it that makes them giants universally? But then we don't sell out to the point that we begin to imitate them and forget what we are for here. Our products influence our situation. If we're going to be relevant to our situation, then we must be global and local at the same time. We must take the best we have learned and apply it to the worst around us, to lift it up and make it the best. I hope that's what we are fighting for here. I'll partner with you if that's the case. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Siminyu. Dr. Siminyu said that I was his deputy principal at the college, and I normally refer to him as my senior. So I rarely call him by name because when he starts speaking, he's so passionate. When I looked at my principal investigators and the co-investigator, they all nodded and said, why not? Because our interactions have been very, very, very deep. Colleagues, I know we are running against time. Some of you may be having one or two questions to raise, but you should also allow me, in the interest of this panel, because it's not always common to have them here to just have 2 minutes each as their parting shots, so that when you raise questions and if there are any, and they are to respond, then we just have a conclusion for our lunch. So I will ask Dr. Allen Kavagenyi to raise any pertinent issues that she feels as points of emphasis. People are talking about transdisciplinary research, but then how do we maintain these collaborations? Don't they have their own challenges and things associated with them? So Dr. Kavagenyi, please.
Thank you very much, Prof. Bisaso, for again the opportunity to talk about the collaborative partnerships. Earlier on, I mentioned that there are some schools. Allow me to use the example of the School of Public Health, and thanks that Stella Kaketo is right here. So as we talk about these collaborative, collaborative partnerships that we have, let's just begin with an example of the PIs and the co-PIs, and then you listen in the Michigan State University. All that speaks to the fact that you cannot do it alone. And therefore, you have to identify and get to know, because remember, I talked about, if I may pitch in onto what my co-panelists mentioned, the TDR kind of research. It could be applied research. It could be translation research. It could be a grant for training. So you have to identify those collaborations. When I mentioned Ms. Stella Kaketo, all I'm saying is that their school has a very good practice. They share these calls with members of staff. And sometimes these members of staff also reach out to the wider community of the university. And what do? We're looking out for this expertise. Therefore, if you want to be part of these partnerships, I mentioned earlier on something to do with the US mission, giving us the opportunity, talking about President Biden having a strategic, plan and vision for Africa, but specifically looking at issues to do with, like you're talking about research, with the gaps that are available. There were so many that were listed. So as we're talking about those collaborations, you have to reach out to those people. Some of the networks that could be there, it may be difficult to penetrate, but reach out to people, show the interest that you are available. And then once you are also invited, so I'll tell you that there are some, calls. My colleague who mentioned that he's a reviewer with NIH, their calls, go to their website, find out what kind of collaborations or the teams that should be put up together to be able to do the work. I'll speak to a recent dissemination that I had. I was a PI on a project on cancer. I'm not an oncologist. Yeah, I am not an oncologist, but we had to work together as teams. I had an oncologist on the team. I had a physiologist on the team. I had quite a number of people who were working together. And at the end of the day, we shine because we brought in our expertise together. And that is what, when you talk about the collaborative partnerships, what is the importance of them? You come together to share knowledge, you come together to share competences, but of course the budget as well. And so when we look at what is available, look out for the donors. If I talk about NIH, it's not only NIH. There are so many that are available. There are many calls. Are you willing to participate in the different RFPs that could come through? And that willingness, then of course you have to be available. There is time. You have to put in time. These people have not told us their effort. How I wish they could tell us how they are back and forth, the meetings, bring on this, what should we do for them to be able to win these grants? It is not a given. It is not a given. So you have to ensure that you look out for that. So you look for the available networks that are there within the respective schools. Also for you to share with other people. By the way, when you identify, she mentioned that you cannot just say, I'm going to hide this and they'll steal my idea. No. Gone are the days. To be honest, you can't make it alone. You can never make it alone. And I'm sure you can attest to that. So we share the subject expertise, you communicate, you do the coordination as well. As I wind up, I would also like to note, just to speak to mentorship. Sometimes people mistake the mentorship component of like, you have this collaboration with this person. And then I will speak as a lady. That sometimes you identify these people, they are very good. Someone is ready to support you, especially the other gender. Along the way, the person feels like they're entitled. Along the way, they are like, starts making different demands. My friends, no. That is not mentorship. So I want to emphasize, especially for us, this gender here, please take note. It is not that special relationship. No, you need that person who is going to see the best out of you, and then they'll be able to support you all along the way. And then the other very critical issue, please remember to have those visions, the goals. You are going to be trained to be also supporting others. You're going to reach out to other universities. Begin with yourself. Ask yourself the questions. How many people have I supported along the way? They may not be people who are younger. They may not be because they are your graduates, students. No. Even colleagues. There are times I receive, because of the different attachments and collaborations. I had a training at the University of Michigan, and I went there because my mentor, was like, Alan, you need to go for this training. But it's very, very competitive. And trust me, you have to give it, that effort. I sat down, did the applications, and before long, I did just only receive the training, but I also got a fellowship. So before I knew it, we were walking out and I said, okay, fellow or Kish Fellow, University of Michigan. And we continued with the collaboration. However, the question you ask yourself, as an individual, how are you going to also support other people? So we begin with ourselves, identify the different teams we can work with within my school of statistics. Can I work with X? Can I, if I receive a call and sure I cannot make it, why discard it? Why throw it in the bin? Share it with someone, say, I think, so Dr. So-and-so, I've seen someone, one of my colleagues, Dr. Ambonye, I said, Dr. Ambonye, you can lead this project. And I've also noticed that there's the director here, human resource. I'm sure as a university, it is not just us being part of this project or supporting or helping people or looking at our career. But most importantly, I want to emphasize the question as you walk out, what is your value addition to this world? What is your contribution? Who are those people when you look back, you say, I've helped X. They may never come back by there to say thank you. They may never come back. But in your heart of hearts, I've helped X, I've supported Y, I've supported Z. You as an individual. Beyond that, two, don't forget to look out for this collaboration. They are available. There are so many. We are living in a world of interconnectivity. Please just search grants. You'll be overwhelmed. Go. And then put your profile out there. So I don't know whether it's an African thing, Prof. Visaso, but oftentimes we shy away from sharing our CVs, don't we? They're going to know where I studied from. They're going to know my expertise. But how will they reach out to you if they don't even know just the basics? That there is an Allen who is in the School of Statistics, who is doing ABCD. She has been doing this. How? Okay, if we are shy, perhaps we can share just a bio. Let it be out there on LinkedIn, so that when people are looking out for the expert, by the LinkedIn has been, lately there are many people who are getting even jobs just because their profile is out there and their calls. So join networks and let those people who are on two networks, tell them, please, I want to be part of this. They will hold your hand. They will help you. And I want to thank the people who have come out to say they are going to mentor others. It is not easy. I have mentored. I have also been mentored. It is tough, but I want to applaud you, those online and then in the physical attendance, and of course, those also who are willing to be mentored. I wish you the very best and thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kabagenyi. I also realized that in the first segment, she spoke but she did not use a lot of time. But now these are the take homes that we really need to reflect upon. Issues of value addition. Have you added value to somebody, and do you want somebody to add value to you? And of course, you speak to profiling oneself. Maybe we are very humble. We don't want people to know a lot about us, especially if you are a very committed Christian. You say, yeah, they will get to know us. But please, you generate a bio, and maybe we should now learn to write those ones so that people can look out for us. And then we build these collaborations, partnerships, and also networks. And like you said, colleagues, it's very difficult to quantify time you invest as you develop these kinds of proposals and the like. But it's also nice when you celebrate after winning. Even when our colleagues in the RIF give us money, we celebrate because we have invested. Now, as you must have seen in the slides, there is a challenge of closing out. After you have celebrated and implemented, you don't want to report fully. And this is a challenge that came through. And hopefully, Professor Muyodi, I did not want to say, and your team, and all of us will now try to deal with this challenge, because now this project is for all of us. So when we say Professor Muyodi and his team, it's not Professor Muyodi, Trixie, Grace, Ronald, Stella. No, all of us in this room. So Professor Muyodi, when we say and your team, it means all of us, those online, the members of the institution, because it's ours. And you see, when you was making that statement, I said, but it's already part of the team. We already met on the 16th and he gave a comprehensive interview. So thank you. I know Alice here was talking so much about technology, but there was this thing you talked about. You said research commons, eh? Yeah, you know, those are things that are quite interesting for the early career researchers to have a feel and to try and internalize so that it's something that can be accessible. But as you give your concluding remarks, maybe you would like to highlight a few issues that have emerged, but that area of research commons, if you could just speak to it just in a sentence or two, and then you give your other concluding remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. So about research commons, I call them spaces. Imagine this space. Maybe you can call it a room. This room is fully furnished with everything. The environment is conducive, whereby you can meet, your faculty, your lecturers or your tutors, you can meet them in that space and discuss. And then this place has experts, like librarians who are experts. Do you know this librarian you go to and you want something from this site and they know the site? This librarian you go to and you ask about this database and they know that database. And then you have IT specialists. Because most times when you want IT specialists, you run to ICT. But this is a space you create and it's very conducive and you can get everything you want from one space. That is a research commons. It is not just something, okay, I know Dr. Allen said we have research commons here, but I'll not say anything about that. But a state-of-art research common has experts. Have you ever gone to a library and you ask them for a database and they don't know that database? That's where expertise come from, and how to use computers, because these guys should be well conversant with how to go through different databases and to give you the right information of where to go. And then my concluding remarks, this is a lifetime experience. Cry once and move on. I have a proposal I handed in Uganda, I'll not say where, 3 times. It was not funded. Then whenever they would reject it, I give it to an international, funder. They accept it the first time. The second time, again, I sent it to another funder. You just changed, be more innovative. They accepted it. Third time, another funder, they accepted it. So sometimes I know this is Uganda, this is Africa. Sometimes you may not be appreciated where you come from. You know that. It's a life thing. People around you may feel like, but let me tell you what, you need to be your own motivator. Yeah, that proposal is a lifetime thing because I can even put it another place and they fund it heavily. So that is it. Whereas they rejected it, you don't just sit back and you're like, because you can also see a good idea yourself. Whether people have not seen it here or somewhere, you can see that this idea is very good. So internationally, it received funding 3 times. It was rejected 2 times here. So that is it. You don't give up. And a good idea is a good idea, period. You don't have to move around looking for cases and clauses. No, a good idea is a good idea. And I want to thank the team led by Professor Miyodi from Makerere and then the Michigan State team. Thank you so much for all this. Yeah, we needed it. We always talk about grant writing, but the collaboration is well appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nabatanzi. So did you say that cry once and do what? You said the cry once and do what? You see, those one-liners are very key for our motivation. Because at least you recall there are some 3 C's, then you tag along. I think that was Allen here. Then you are saying people should cry once, and then and then some here you said you have to be Giloko. And so when you pick these are take homes, and we need to carry on with this until Professor Muyodi, you have led us to the land that we would like to go to, of course, with the support of Sam here and everybody else. Mordecai, I would like to hear your parting shot, especially as a research manager. And you see, when data was collected, there were very few typical research managers. And it's no harm because this is public space. When we met the Vice Chancellor yesterday and we said we invited research managers to join this, he said, yes, these are in total scarcity within this institution. So would you like to just, in a statement, what contribution can you make in terms of support to these early career researchers? And then you conclude. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Bisaso, and thank you so much, everybody. Mine will be very straight. One, if you have an opportunity and you let it pass, then you will not find it. So meaning when you have the opportunity, then use it. I'm saying this because we have people within our institution, but we also have people within our collaborators, institutions, and we have so many in the US that we are currently working with. I must say that a lot of the knowledge that I have, I've gained it from being able to accept to learn. Are we together? So we must be able to accept to learn. And you have us, you can reach out to us at any time. If you send me an email, I will always definitely give you the support. And if I'm unable, I'll definitely direct you to that person that I know will be able to support you. So participate a lot in many of the activities that are there within the university, but even those opportunities that are not here in the university, but are in line with that you want. And in particular, we are talking about grants writing. Be always on the lookout. You know, if I ask you a question here, you know, just randomly, how many of you have checked in this last month or in the month that we are in here? How many of us have checked the website of Michigan? Okay, I only see one hand. Are you trying to get what I'm trying to say? How many of us have, maybe Michigan, I'm going far, thousands and thousands of miles. How many of us have checked the website of the Ministry of Health within this month? Okay? Not only to check for news around the issues that are currently trending in the country, but to look out for funding opportunities that have been put there. Look out for trainings that have been aligned that can help us build our capacity in grants management, in grants writing. Are we together? So this is, and that's what I'm driving at, that let's try as much as possible to be committed and to love what we want. If you are not committed to do that, then you will not grow to be that writer that you want to be. And always remember to work with people. For me, every time I go for these, sometimes I go to those websites and I just see travel grant, travel grant. Some of these actually do not need much. They need you to just write an abstract. They give you the opportunity to travel. You'll get exposure. There's social capital there. You'll have the teams to always write with. We were involved in a USP fellowship with Stella. Stella, I think, was with you. And I was with Northwestern in Chicago. And you realize that right now we are writing grants with them. But given the fact that if we didn't take an extra step to go forward and write, to be part of that particular opportunity, then we would have missed out. So in a nutshell, whenever there is an opportunity, go for it. Don't say, I don't think I qualify, and don't say, I don't think this is my area. She has given a very good example. You know, the studies in cancer, she's not an oncologist, but she was part of the team, and the team actually did succeed. So in a nutshell, make the writing experience as an exciting thing. Make it part of you. You will enjoy it. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, Mordecai. You see, you spoke. You know, we invited you because you are a research manager. But you all agree with me that when he speaks about the teams that Alan has also talked about and the expertise, you realize that we are in this together. We draw from a range of experts so that we are in position to collaborate. But most importantly, when you gave your opening remarks, and I'm just emphasizing for purposes of us not forgetting, you said that one may not be necessarily technical to be given your proposal to peruse before you submit. They might see that your name, Sega Antebuka, has been misspelled. And then when it's misspelled, you lose out. So thank you very much for the submission and for the rejoinder. I would like now to ask my senior to use 2 minutes and wind this up before we raise our hands for any 2 questions as Rita will guide. So, Prof.
Thank you very much, MC, Brother Prof. Bisaso. Before I take the last minute, I just wanted to make an appeal to all of us that 1 year for this project, in my opinion, is inadequate to do the big job we have to do. And that means we must make the maximum use of this 1 year to create room to do more. Because whatever it is we are talking about, setting up a culture of training our staff and students into grant writing, into publishing, into having a center. Those are big ideas. And 1 year is inadequate for us to achieve that. So I am praying that the American Embassy will look at what we are doing and think of pushing it ahead. But beyond that, can we find other sources from within us? What is it that we are ready to put in? I had opportunity to MC at the meeting of the top management and staff, principals, talking about graduate training at Makerere when we had a meeting at African. And I was saying, there are things that concern us to be cross-cutting. Let's forget about our silos. I am a social scientist. I am an educationist. When it comes to writing, all of us need these skills. When it comes to grant writing, all of us need these skills. So when we have a forum or a unit that can bring these brains together so that they are not just in statistics or in public health, but they are available to the whole of Makerere. When your skills, your knowledge, your expertise is made available to the whole of Makerere, then Makerere will become relevant to Uganda. Makerere will become relevant to other institutions. Makerere will be worth standing alongside international universities of great standing. So can we think beyond the 1 year and commit ourselves? Just thinking about it is not enough. Commit ourselves to say, what is it that we can do to make sure that this thing moves to the next level? 2, let's individually commit to this lifelong venture of being the academics we say we are. Sometimes I have colleagues whom I think are businessmen who found a way to make money in academia. Others are politicians who come to play around their politics in academia. But the things we are talking about is what's really going to make you the academic you say you are. Are you a researcher? Do you have the skills and wherewith to research? Do you have the means to disseminate your research? What impact is your research having on the communities and so on? Those are the questions that we are raising here. And so, Prof. Muyodi and your team, including me, our assignment is cut out. We want to have a lasting impact on academia in this university, a lasting impact on academia in this nation through these joint projects that enable us to touch and change lives, which will touch and change other lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, colleagues. And this is my last statement. You said that the enzymes, when you talked about them, then for me, I said, but these people here are epistemologically angry. So there's the enzymes, I think, are here. But then there is lunch, of course, and I would like to request that you join me in thanking the panelists. The qualitative researchers will say that these are lived experiences. They were speaking from the heart and what they have gone through. That's why we asked them that, please, could you help and join us? I know when you read about them, you read their bios, Alan's bio, you read Alice Navatanz's bio, Mordecai's bio, you will see that whatever they have said, they have actually lived. So it's not that we invited them and we asked them, you come and speak. No, they are speaking from experience. And I am also happy that we were gender sensitive. So up here on the podium, you can see the ladies here and other ladies are here. So we are doing very well. So thank you very much. Over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, but kindly remain where you are because you've been a very, very good panel. So may we have only 2 questions from the audience? Especially we are giving this opportunity to the people who are not able to ask questions during the first session. So only 2 questions from the audience. Betty, the hands are already up. As Betty gets the microphone where Professor Dujanga is, permit me to inform you that we're honored to have Mr. Sanyu Rollins, the Acting Director, Human Resources, Makerere University. He was with us. And I'm also happy that Professor Edith Natukunda from the College of Humanities and Social Sciences has also been with us. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Is it on? Yeah. Thank you very much. I really want to thank the panel. They have done a great job, really. They were speaking from their heart, as the moderator has said. And when Mordecai, I like that name, I just read it in the Bible this morning, and now today I hear it. So when you are talking about reviewers, actually it just crossed my mind. There are those who send back comments which are terrible. They sort of push you off, especially if you're a young person starting. And I remember I had such one time, I thought I wasn't part of it because I had just started. I sent my publication and it was so bad. But the good thing is I had mentors. That's when it brings in that the mentors we have really help, because it is my lecturers at that time, actually, as they say, I do physics, and the others were males, but good enough. My professors were good. I remember just saying, I'm not sending it back because the comments were so bad, until this professor said, let's just write it together. Let's do it. In fact, I refused to be now the first. I said, you do it. And if you put me on, you go. But the way he encouraged me to show me that actually those comments, harsh as they were supposed to lead you. So when he did, actually it came out very well. So I just feel that now, even as young researchers, don't be put off by those things. And the good thing is also about mentorship, as Alan has said, the mentors, those we have to have that spirit so that you really feel from the heart. And I think it's from the mentors I've been having, they're the ones who make me feel that I should also be a mentor. And actually, many people, without even realizing, I've been a mentor to them, because they come back and say, oh, you will have been my mentor, and so on. So it is from the heart that we are going to do it. I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor, but always also Dr. Florence Dujanga. Now, from the online participant, this goes to Dr. Alice Nabatanzi. How do you get to know that your research will add value globally and locally? That's a question I'm reading from the screen, one online participant. To you, Dr. Alice Nabatanzi, how do you get to know that your research will add value globally and locally? And one final question from the audience physically present. Okay, and just also as we get the answers, just to let you know that the Makerere University Research, Grant Writing and Publication Center that has been launched today, the offices are located at Makerere University Library, ground floor. Thank you so much. So it's Dr. Alice to respond, right? Yes, over to you, Dr. Alice Nabatanzi.
Thank you very much. So research adding value globally and locally. There are some cross-cutting issues which are faced in the US, they are faced in Africa, they are faced in Europe. So there are those cross-cutting issues. In that, for example, for my postdoc, I worked on cancer. Cancer is a non-communicable disease. That one we know. It affects the US, it affects Uganda, it affects even the poorest country, it affects Zambia, etc. So, meaning that whatever intervention you come up with to solve an international problem, it will be translated. Take an example. I participated in a consultancy. It is Club Africa. It is climate, land, agriculture, biodiversity. We are looking at interventions of climate change that have been done in countries in Africa, UNDP, all those things. So what happened is they would use what has been done in Rwanda and take it to Uganda. Because the innovations work. If there is a water pollution problem and you're coming up with that research here, it can be simulated and taken to Cambodia. That's what they usually do. So always when you're targeting, what do I want to research on? What problem am I looking at? Look at a problem that is, worldwide spread. Poverty is in many places. Even, Cambodia, they are poor. Venezuela, they have poverty issues. So what intervention are you bringing in? A cross-cutting intervention. Me, for my research, obviously I was working with natural remedies. What can we use for cancer? Asia is doing this, right? In US, they are doing this, meaning it is a cross-cutting intervention. So yeah, there are so many problems around you. But through, that's when I go to the library thing, Prof. You know, the library is very important. It is not as we say that it's just a block, because most of us don't make use of the library. But in the library, the much time you spend doing literature review on your desktop, actually, it should be done by librarians who are going to help you. That is why some people have the robot libraries. We are going to technology. Well, because human beings get tired. This day she has lost someone. The other day she's not feeling happy. She goes out for lunch. But those robots, they'll help you do what a human being cannot do. Obviously, we'll get there sometime. So that is the thing. A library is very important. And through the library, that is when you can get proper literature on these situations. But the key thing is always engage in cross-cutting situations, non-communicable diseases, and cancer is more widespread even in the European world. COVID-19 was a challenge. Everyone had COVID-19. So that research is a part. Look at situations of, if it's Africa, look at HIV. HIV is something like where you can't, I don't know, there may be other things. I'm not in other, I like science, so I can't.
Yeah, you're so spot on actually talking about cross-cutting issues. I just want to mention, and I earlier hinted on the fact that when you're looking out for these ideas, actually the website can speak to the research gaps. These calls that are being made, I made mention of NIH. If you went to the website and looked at the grants, the calls that are there, they will speak to the subject. But I also had put down here that COVID-19, now from preventive measures, again, now the research, the conversation is about the vaccination. What is going to happen again? So not necessarily just if you're talking about COVID-19, but there are so many, gaps that are there. I want to point you to the fact that when you look at the national level, begin with the National Development Plan. The government of Uganda has the National Development Plan. This is what they are proposing to have. So currently we have NDP3. Have you had an opportunity to look at it? Where can you pitch as a researcher? Because if you're applying, you're also speaking to the national plans that are available. We also talk about the Vision 2040. You've heard about it. So the point I'm trying to make that when you're looking out for these different calls, look out for what the donors are also interested in. And they're also low-hanging fruits. Perhaps I don't want to ask people, but I see Miss Juliet here representing Makerere. How many of us have applied for Makerere? There's money from government of Uganda, value addition that I mentioned. Those collaborations that we're talking about to these different universities. Here, again, please allow me to re-echo what the ambassador mentioned. When she mentioned that, now the focus is you as a researcher should go and run quickly and start searching. How can I do this? How can I get to these universities? How can we, follow up the conversations that we have here? So, and then again, if you're looking for the gaps, SDG, what are they? SDGs 2030. These are targets, global. Where do you place yourself? African agenda. They have that agenda for what is it that they want to see for Africa. But then there are also gaps that they want to, accomplish. How can you be able to answer the needs that have been already documented? So all these documents are available. Thank you.
Maybe one last thing, Prof. Another way to know the value of your research is Uganda is a signatory to treaties and conventions. By the time your president signs to these treaties and conventions, there is a problem worldwide, which the UN or any other organization wants to solve. Take people who do conservation biology. There are those things of conservation of endangered species. He's a signatory and they make policies. And usually we know they make policies to domesticate them in their country. So you can also, based on those, to get research that is viable. Look at the treaties your president is signatory to, because they're international issues. That's why they call upon these people, they sign to them, even your parliament, who make these policies and domesticate them to achieve the goal of the international treaty. So you can do research along that line, make it valuable.
Apologies for coming back again. I know the enzymes are shaking, like they said, but I just want to re-echo this to the teams that are here. We might have cross-cutting issues and we must have cross-cutting areas of interest, but we don't have to forget that there is always reason to seek for clarity. So always and always use that notice of, that RFA as a Bible. If you're a Muslim, as a Quran, depending on how you want to call it. All I'm saying is that you must respond to the RFA based on the purpose for which this call was put forward. And I must re-echo that the funding that we receive, this is taxpayers' money. And therefore, there's always another group that sits to identify those key areas that they think their funding should be directed to. And therefore, we must look at that very critically as we respond to this opportunity. But then last but not least, we also must know that when these calls are put forward, there's a section that we call the eligibility section. Sometimes these people have already done the groundwork for us. And by the fact that we are eligible to apply for the call and we are responding as per the purpose of the call, then we are suitable to have the funding. But remember that they also know that there are some things, because we are LMICs, there are things that we cannot do as us. And that's why most RFAs call for collaboration. So you might find a grant, and in part of your aims or in your objective, there's a specific objective that Michigan State will help you to do. Then you're already working together with them. It might not necessarily be that maybe there is this specific thing that you must do together, but because they have the expertise to do that. And that's why you see sometimes you collect a sample here, you ship it for further sequencing, and then you return back with results. And if there is any aspect of intellectual property, some of those are looked into. So that's something I wanted to bring forward, that always seek clarity from the RFA if you want to win that grant. Thank you.
Let us give a befitting hand clap to the panel and the moderator. Yes, and then turn to your neighbor and also another hand clap to your neighbor with a smile. Yes. Yes, so we come to the end of today's launch. Makerere University Research, Grant Writing and Publication Center has been launched today, 21st March 2023, by the U.S. Ambassador to Uganda, H.E. Natalie Brown, represented by Miss Amy Peterson, yes, from U.S. Mission, Uganda. Thank you so much. Let us rise for the anthems.
We build for the future, the great Makerere, great, great and mighty, the walls around thee, great, great and mighty, the gates beside thee, great, great and mighty, the walls around thee, great, great and mighty, the gates beside thee. From east and west, from north and south, all voices singing, arise, Makerere. Rise up and rise, high up and high, all voices singing, arise, Makerere, Makerere, Makerere. We build for the future, the great Makerere, great, great and mighty, the walls around thee, great, great and mighty, the gates beside thee, great, great and mighty, the walls around thee, great, great and mighty, the gates beside thee. Ee Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Oh, Uganda.